And live from high atop Hard Rocket Sports Studios in beautiful scenic Monroe, New Jersey, we are the Hard Rocket Sports Show. Each Thursday night, we come together with you and bring you the biggest news from around the worlds of hard rock, heavy metal, and of course, the wide world of sports. And guys, like I've been saying on the radio portion, the radio side of the show, this is our very last radio show on Blog Talk Radio, and it's a little bittersweet. 6 years, I've had this radio show cranked up over 400 shows. I think we've influenced a couple people. We've got a couple people start their own shows based on the Hard Rocket Sports Show. But that comes to an end tonight, just about 2 or 3 episodes short of 6 years. On the radio side, I thanked everybody. I'll do it quickly here. A big thanks to people like Jay Giasio and Darren Joseph and Sam Bone, RFL Records, John Mahefka, all the people who've supported this show. My dad who calls in every week. Let's see. I'm trying to think who else. Joe Gansas, the original producer of the Hard Rocket Sports Show, who without Joe, there would be no Hard Rocket Sports Show today. Nick Marino, who became the producer until recently when he taking a little break. Giuseppe Dante, all my cousins and people listen, my wife who has supported me doing this forever. My brother, who was my inspiration, who pushed me to do this. Jimmy Galicchio for writing the theme song to the show. So many people to thank, and I can't thank them enough. And if I forgot you, I apologize. As the show goes on, I thank you to all the great guests we've had on there on the radio portion. But again, we're not done. We're going to keep going. Well, just via live stream and maybe on the radio side. I love the radio. It's absolutely one of the best things ever to get on the radio and hold people's attention for a little while. So again, we're gonna kick it off tonight. We got the Big Jeff birthday show tonight. We celebrate. Let's get that up there. Tonight, Hard Rocket Sports. We did the Big Jeff birthday show. We do it every year. Usually we have a bunch of bass players on and we have a bunch of guests, but on this side it's a little harder. I haven't figured out yet how to have guests, call in. So right now we do have a couple of guests. We got Joe Bouchard, who's an ex-founding member of the band Blue Oyster Cult. Joe's out there doing with some new music, so he'll be checking in about 7:30. We got Tommy Gunn. Mr. Tommy Grassley checks in with Hard Rocket Sports at about 8 o'clock. Tommy, again, also has a new project, a new album out, I Believe in Love, so Tommy will be checking in a little while. And, guys, we got plenty coming up in the future for Hard Rocket Sports while we wait for Jeff. Just so you know, starting next Thursday night, and every other week, we will have Rafael Esparza, who is the head odds maker at MyBookie.com, MyBookieAG.com. So Rafael will be on here every other week. We'll be doing bets. I actually signed up for the website. I'm going to be placing some bets along the way. And once the football season kicks off, if it kicks off, we'll have Rafael on here weekly talking about some of the bigger bets, some of the better, maybe get some best bet picks from him. And we'll have some fun with that. But look out for Rafael, who's a great guest on the show so far. Let's see who else is coming up. We got next week Dave K. Starr and Ed Gage from Wolf Chamber. Freddie Ordine on the 23rd from Weapons of Anew. Chris Gustafson on August 13th, the drummer for Trauma. And Ross the Boss returns for his first video interview on the Hard Rocket Sports Show. Ross the Boss on August the 20th. So lots of guests coming up in the future. And we got plenty to do tonight. I'm waiting for Jeff to pop up. Haven't seen him yet, but we got plenty to do in the meantime. Again, I'll say again, thanks to everybody who's supported the Hard Rocket Sports Show over the last almost 6 years now. The radio portion's been a lot of fun, but the visual aspect has seemed to juice the audience. We've had some really big shows, and we're looking forward to it. But again, we haven't lost sight of the radio show. We're going to try to do another one that kind of simulcast with this. But for now, I'm starting off the Blog Talk. This will be the official last Blog Talk radio show that we have on. I don't know how long it'll last. We've had technical difficulties basically every week. But in the meantime, we'll continue to do the show live from where we are now. I'm going to share in the Blog Talk show. I don't know if I did that, so I'm doing it now. And then I am going to bring in the birthday boy. I thanked everybody before, and I'm going to hold him off a second. I thanked everybody who helped out on the radio portion. I started off on the radio portion here too. I thank of course everybody. Of course, I thank my dad who calls in every week, and I love the fact that he's out there with us. But my partner in crime, Mr. Jeff Towinski, who is my brother for nearly 40 years. We don't share the same blood, but I consider him my brother. Without him, I don't know. Maybe the show wouldn't have gone on. We've had some great shows together. We have a ton of laughs, and it definitely gives us something to do. But without his inspiration, sometimes I might not be here doing this tonight. But and he definitely makes it worthwhile. So let me get him on. It's his birthday. Let's say happy birthday to the birthday boy, Mr. Jeff Towinski. What's up, Hefe?
What's up, man?
What's up, man?
Not much.
How's the vacation going?
By quickly, unfortunately.
Yes, it does go quick. It does go quick.
Yeah. I still got a little bit more than a week, about 10 days left, so not too bad.
Yeah, well, first off, Jeff, I know tonight's not your official birthday. That comes tomorrow. So, but we're saying happy birthday tonight on the official Jeff birthday show. We do it every year. I kind of like to celebrate the Jeff birthday show. So
that's why we're here, man. It's
that's it. So we're gonna get my dad on in a minute. But Jeff, it's been an interesting week. Sport. It's so funny. It's like sports is coming, and then the next minute, the next breath is, well, it might go away. It might not happen. I hear today, Ivy League. I think one of the Ivy League schools, not Princeton, one of them canceled their fall sports. No football.
Yale and Harvard, I believe.
Okay. So
but other ones that are trying to figure out other ways. It's bullshit. It's such bullshit.
Yeah, and same thing with the NFL now. There are players who are talking about not playing. I know baseball's had a couple of people bow out. I wonder if it's what point they pull the plug on any of these sports.
I don't know, dude. Me and my wife were talking about this earlier. Mm-hmm. There's been 12 million people worldwide that caught this disease.
Right.
And no death should be taken lightly at all whatsoever.
Nope.
But 12 million people have had this virus, and that 12 million people includes present day people that have passed it, like me and you that had it earlier, and people that have died. Mm-hmm. And worldwide, 500,000 people have died of that virus.
Right.
Now, one is too much, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Okay? But when there's 12 million that had it and 500,000 that are no longer here, I would like to know out of that 500,000, how many of those people had underlying factors, how many people were old, how many people had other sicknesses. This is not to take away the loss of 500,000 plus lives.
Right.
But out of that 500,000, how many of them maybe were older people, had underlying conditions? You know what I mean?
Sure.
Remember that they're not giving you all of that. To make you feel somewhat better, but they'll tell you that as of right now, of all of the people that they know of in the world that have it, there's only 1% that is in serious or critical condition.
Yeah.
Number that have it right now as we speak. I think that's numbers that I could deal with opening up a little bit more than they've already done so far.
I agree, and I know it's spiking out there, but what they're not telling you is that most of the people who are getting not affected with it, most of the people who are getting tested for it are getting tested because they're going in for some sort of a procedure, or they're having something else done, and they're just checking them, and they're going, oh yeah, by the way, you have coronavirus. Like, I do? So yes, I know that they're testing more people and they have more things, but like you said, the deaths and the hospitalizations are way, 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 way down. And at some point, we just got to go out and live our life. And people get the flu every year. Hundreds of thousands of people get the flu. We don't cause a pandemic. Again, I get that the fact that it's 3 million people in the U.S., but I guarantee there's a lot more people get the flu every year than they let on. So,
well, I mean, listen, if you get the flu and you're sitting at home and you're suffering and you can't breathe or whatever the case is, who goes to the hospital for the flu?
Exactly.
There's nothing that you can do. You ride it out.
Same thing with this.
People get a flu shot and everything else, and my wife gets a flu shot every year, and then you know what happens? A week later, she's sniffling, she's sick.
Yeah, listen, you get the flu. When you get the flu shot, you get the flu with it. I don't get the flu shot, never have, never will.
No, never got the flu shot.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the last time that I got sick, other than coronavirus, which felt like a passing cold.
Yeah.
To tell you the truth.
Yeah, so tonight, Jeff, we got, besides your birthday, we got a lot of things. We got the first ever Jeffy Awards. You and I have spent some time coming up with, we're doing a little different. We didn't do kind of like greatest sports player of the year. We're kind of going to do the Jeffy Awards this year are going to be our tribute to our favorites, let's call, so to speak.
Pretty much, yeah. It's a little fun,
Yeah, absolutely. We're definitely going to open up talking about Patrick Mahomes and his record-breaking new contract, which I'm kind of torn about for a lot of reasons. So we're going to get to that. We're going to talk about the Redskins look like they're going to buckle. But the funny part is now they're going after, okay, I'm not going to give it to them. I'm going to say is I understand how maybe you could say the Redskin thing it's racist, whatever. Okay. But now they're saying that calling the team the Braves, the Indians, the Chiefs, are wrong. What's next? The Patriots, the Yankees? I mean, what's next? If we're going to let them go down this road, Jeff, what are we going to be? The New York them against the Arizona us? I mean, what's next?
Dude, I'm telling you right now, if you don't think the Yankees ain't getting caught up in this shit,
oh yeah,
somebody's going to say something.
Yeah, think about it. It's absolutely insane. But Jeff, also tonight, besides your birthday, tonight is the anniversary, 5-year anniversary of the very first show you helped co-host.
Oh, really?
Tonight, July 9th, 2015, you were part of the show, but it was the first time you weren't doing full shows yet, but it was the very first show you helped co-host.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. 5 years ago today. And if we had technology that enabled it, I would be playing that tonight. But of course, like I said before, this is the last Blog Talk Radio show. It's a little short of 6 years on Blog Talk Radio. And it's a little bit of bittersweet, but we're going to still be doing the show every week. It's just we're going to eliminate Blog Talk. And like I said, I thanked everybody. We're going to talk about Deshaun Jackson. Made a pretty decent statement about Jews, and nobody seems to be in uproar about it. Jeff, he quoted a little bit of your boy Adolf Hitler.
Hey, I'm not involved in that kind of stuff, but I will say this much:
Go ahead.
Julian Edelman,
has
stepped up and offered to take Deshaun Jackson to the not Auschwitz Museum. I'm sorry, the Holocaust Museum or something, or the Jew Museum.
Really?
DC, and would be willing to go to the African American Museum so that they could learn from this.
Yeah, it kind of puts the damper on how Deshaun Jackson's been a big proponent of Black Lives Matter and racial equality, and kind of puts the damper on what Deshaun's spewing when he's out there tweeting Adolf Hitler stuff. So, I mean, yes, Billy Graz, Jeff is in Facebook jail. I won't get into why.
If you can allow me, I'll get into that while we got. If anybody wants to know why I'm in Facebook jail, I put up a post about Colin Kaepernick. Pretty profanity-laced post, I thought. And I even ended it with, I'll see you in 30 days, thinking that I was going to get immediately tossed in jail for that one. And I didn't. Somehow the post is still there. But what got me in jail was somebody said something. It was Jeff Spezzano said something about Muslims. And I was like, fuck Muslims. And, man, I don't even think I hit send. And I heard the jingling of the keys. And I was like, what's that? And next thing you know, I'm in jail.
Yes. So Jeff, for his birthday, is in Facebook jail, but we're celebrating it tonight. And we'll be seeing Jeff over the weekend, which I'm excited to do. See him.
Yeah, you're still coming, right?
Absolutely. Wouldn't miss it for the world. And
just so that you know,
yeah,
we have not bought a fucking thing yet.
That's okay. No. We can order pizza, as far as I'm concerned. We can order pizza as far as I'm concerned. As long as we get to hang out.
I was arguing with my wife earlier today.
Yeah.
About some of the stuff that she wants to put on the menu, and I'm like, what are you doing? I says, why are you doing all of this? I says, just hamburgers, hot dogs, soda, and beer and water.
That's fine. By the way, just so you know, my wife is making wings to bring with us. You tell her. I tried talking her out of it.
Tell her thank you.
She's not going to stop.
I'm not looking for her to stop.
Okay.
Any extras must be processed through my wife.
Well,
I'm just cooking and drinking.
Just let you know, my wife will be bringing her special wings. But
looking forward to trying them because maybe if they're good, she could give the recipe to my wife, who's been talking about making them, which would be cool. So
Absolutely.
I look forward to trying them. But I just any extra food, I want nothing to do with.
Yeah, I agree with you. But listen, we got a guest coming up in about 15 minutes. Joe Bouchard, the bass player from Blue Oyster Cult, and now he also plays guitar and piano. He is going to be on in about 15 minutes to promote his new album. So I want to get my dad in because now he is technologically savvy, and he'll be on with us for a few minutes. I also want to again announce it that starting next Thursday night and every other week till football season if it starts, we are going to have Rafael Esparza from mybookie.ag.com on every week to talk bets. We had Rafael on last week. It was a great hit, and Rafael's a fan of the show. I actually signed up for his website. I'll be placing some bets along the way, but we'll have him on every week and talking sports betting, and we're even going to talk a little political betting because you can bet on who's going to be president, Jeff.
Well, that's great, but I got to tell you, man, I am hoping, praying that the NFL starts, and no matter what they do, Black Lives Matter, the fucking anthem from the fucking Aborigines, I don't give a fuck. Okay, I am paying attention to every fucking second that I can of the NFL this year, simply because I want to see a couple things happen. One, I want to see the Giants tank. Two, I want to see fucking Gettleman get fucking fired. Three, I want to see Daniel Jones released. Four, I want to see Saquon Barkley break a leg and become totally useless and have one fucking leg 3/4 of an inch smaller than the other. So when he walks, he's like this because he can't fucking walk straight. That's what I want to see. And I will be watching.
Boy, just so you know, so everybody, it's a big Jeff birthday show. First, happy birthday out there, Mrs. Talwinski, Jeff's mom, sending a happy birthday, Jeff. Love mom and dad to you.
Thank you, Mom.
Billy Graz, happy birthday, Jeff. So, yes, it's a big Jeff birthday show. Glad everybody's checked in on us. Remember, last radio show, but we will be here every Thursday night with the Hard Rocket Sports Show live here on via the live stream. We'll get a little political tonight. I want to talk about Dumb Blasio at some point tonight. And guys got no time to save us from murders and rapes and burglaries. Nope, he's busy, Jeff, painting Black Lives Matter on the streets of Manhattan. You got to love a guy like that. But we'll get to him a little bit later. I want to get my dad on because we don't have much time, so I want to get my dad. Let's get my dad in to say hi. What's up, Pop? Dad. Hello, Pop. Dad, get your volume up.
He's not saying anything.
No. I hope you can hear me. Dad, you can hear us?
You're
Hello,
right there, Mr. Florio.
Uh-oh. Think Dad's having a problem, Jeff. He's watching MASH in the background, though. You got to love the fact that Dad's still watching MASH.
You better hope one day he doesn't have like some, something on there that maybe.
I don't think that's possible. Pop, you there?
No.
Yeah, Dad.
He's fading in and out. You need to go there and do a practice show with him.
I did all this. The problem is his internet sucks. I got to get him upgraded on his internet.
Well, what is he got a fucking dial up or something? Man, this is bad.
Pretty much.
It's bad for him.
Yeah, Dad. Hold on. Let's see. Hold on. I think, Dad, your volume's got to come up on your phone. You got to put your volume up, Dad. It's got no volume on it. You got to unmute yourself. Put the volume up on your computer. Because it says right here, okay. Now, Dad, you can hear us now?
It says mute.
There you go. You're good, Dad. You're good. Now we can hear you. Pop? Hello, Pop.
It says,
Hey, I hate to say
Can you
this,
hear
but
me
you
now?
know who he
you hear
reminds
it
me
now.
Who?
of? Now
I
Can
got
hear-
you. We got you
can
now,
hear
Dad.
me?
What's up, Pop?
Tommy.
Whoa. Yes, we can hear you.
Was on mute. Before, Jeff, I got to tell you, Jeff, I'd pay money to see you in person. You're really happy
Thank you,
birthday,
Mr. Florio.
brother. Happy birthday to
Hey,
you.
Pop. So Pop, what's
Happy
going on?
birthday,
You
Jeff.
getting ready for some baseball? We're 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you could
Yeah,
hear
we
me.
can hear you fine. We hear you fine. What's on your mind?
Oh, that's a good. It had it on mute. Anytime.
Pop?
He's having some problems.
I keep you.
Yeah, I see it.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I don't know why it's freezing up on you. Yeah, you're
No, nothing. I was just listening to you guys, and you know, I'm waiting for baseball to come. And you know what's funny? I I keep you keep freezing.
yeah, you're freezing up.
I don't know why it does that.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I
It's
can
it's
see
your
Jeff
internet connection.
on me.
Yeah,
I'm just waiting for. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Keep talking. We can hear you. Just freezing. That's all.
Yeah, you guys too. Yeah.
So we can hear you.
I don't know why.
I feel bad for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just waiting for the baseball to start, and see. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
see
You know what, Pop?
happens.
I don't know if I'm nervous about it, but it just seems like it just seems.
Yeah, it's.
I can see you. I can
you
hear
see
you.
me or
Yeah,
you can hear
I think
me?
it's tough this year, Dad, with baseball because we get excited, and every other word is they stopped camp. They may cut it off. This guy don't want to play. I until they start throwing the ball, until I see the first game, I'm just not going to get excited yet. You know what I mean, Jeff?
Yeah, it's going to be tough, and I'll be honest with you, I'm afraid of the Mets. I think the Mets have a damn good team.
Sure.
I really think they can put a good hurting on the Yankees this year. Really do. They have a good team. They have the pitching. Their bullpen suspect.
Yep.
But they got the bull. I mean, they got the starting, and they definitely have the hitting, and they got young guys there. I just think they're gonna, if anything, they'll have a problem with their bullpen.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think if they stay healthy, especially in their pitching, I mean, with their rotation, and if they can hit the ball. I think a big thing's going to be Cespedes. If Cespedes comes out and can DH a lot of times to keep off his legs, they could be a really tough team to beat. They're in their own division. And 60 games. Listen, the problem with the Mets is they have that lull every year, like a lot of teams do, and you can't have it this year. You got to be consistent this year. You lose 4 or 5 games, you're putting yourself in a major hole.
I agree with that without a doubt.
Right.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting.
And it's funny.
Yeah. Okay, Dad. Pop, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just agree. It's very hard. Anybody that starts off good is going to have a good shot at it. And if, again, like you said, if you have a losing streak of 6, 7 games, 5 games, right away you're in the hole, and it's going to be hard to catch up.
I looked at the schedule, and you know what? Here's the funny part, guys. The Yankees Yankees played the Red Sox 10 times. 7 of them are in the Bronx. It's like the weirdest thing. I thought they would do like a 5-5. The Yankees played the Red Sox 10 games out of because they played 40 in their own division, and 7 of them are in the Bronx. That's really a strange schedule.
This is a first for everybody. You don't know what they're going to do, how it's going to work out for everybody logistically.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to us, but it makes sense some one way, I guess.
Yeah, Dad, the funny part of the Yankee schedule is, they have a tough first maybe 40 games. Tough teams. But at the end of their season, I think their last 23 games, they play the Orioles, the Marlins, and somebody else, another weak team. So the Yankees, if the season holds true, their last 20 games, they can be coasting right into the playoffs. So I love the Yankee schedule from that standpoint.
Well, it's going to be tough for the simple fact that you have to start off and you have to play every game.
Yeah.
But I hope they go down. I know it's never going to happen, but from 162 games, I'd like them to see the baseball buck in the quarter of a year. Because, I mean, you're playing especially on the East Coast.
Yeah.
In April, beginning of April, and in October. It's cold, and it's a long season,
yeah.
So it's hard. It's like football, basically right away.
Yeah,
that's too long of a season,
Yeah,
That's the way I think.
Well,
I
you know
don't
what?
know.
Here's what I'd say, Jeff, on that. If you the one thing I liked, and I know there's a lot of people who don't like the 60 game schedule, and I really don't. But what I like about the 60 game schedule is it makes every game count. When you play 160 games, you can take off 10 or 20 games, not put your best team out there, lose it. When you take it, if you take the schedule down to 125 games, now you put a little more pressure, Jeff, on winning every game, and I think that's the thing with baseball. You need, right now 60 games, you certainly got to win every game, but you take that season down, you don't have room for error.
Without a doubt, it's gonna be strange to see. You're gonna see some teams that you never thought were gonna be in the playoffs. I would think.
Oh,
Only
absolutely.
because if you get somebody that comes out of the gate a little hot, and you remember a couple of years ago when the Cleveland Indians, they had that, they went 20, 21 games in a row, whatever it was.
Yeah, something like that.
Imagine somebody goes on a tear and goes for a third of the season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
interesting.
Big. And there's always somebody, but without playing, like, I understand what your father is saying, like, starting in April, the weather is one way, it's colder, and then you're playing through the heat, and then you're getting back into the fall again. This here is just gonna, it's gonna start hot and remain hot through the remainder of the season, both literally and physically, simply because, like you said, these teams have to play their best baseball.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
have to.
Oh, sure.
One slip up, that's it. You can end up being up by 2 games. All you need to do is lose a couple in a row, go down by 2 games. You could probably never recover from that. It's going to be big.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I think you'll as a baseball fan, you'll be more apt to watch a lot more games this year because you don't have an opportunity. Games you have to win. And the games, every game means something. So we'll see. That's you, Jeff. That's your.
No.
Oh, that's you. Who's that? Coco.
Coco.
That's Coco.
That's Coco. She's having a fit.
Hey, Pop,
Yeah.
we're gonna let you go. I got to get somebody else in before, but we love you. Thanks for
All
coming.
right, guys. Yeah. I'm losing. Love you. Jeff, happy birthday again to you. Many returns
Thank you,
to you.
Mr. Flores. Thank you.
And
That's,
Tommy, yeah, you get a chance. Maybe you can figure out what's going on because I freeze. I don't freeze.
yeah.
I don't know if it's the.
Yeah, it's just an internet connection. That I'll swing by this weekend.
But when you get a chance, no.
I'll stop by this weekend. We'll fix it all up. Thanks,
All
Pop.
right, whatever.
See you, Pop.
I appreciate it. Enjoy. Have a good one.
You got it, Dad.
See you later, Mr.
Take
Flores.
care.
I hate cutting them off. I couldn't take much more.
It was hard. It's hard. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I guess on his, I don't know. He's just happy to be on the show. He loves being on it. Yeah, Billy Grazin would not surprise me if the Astros were 60-0 this year. If they could keep cheating, who knows? And Chris Guy, our friend Christine Mario Gallego sends a happy birthday to you, Jeff.
Yes, I saw a couple of them so
Okay.
far. I on Facebook here and there as we go.
And so everybody knows Jeff is in Facebook jail again. So just so you know, it's he hasn't disappeared. He's banished for another 30 days. How much longer you got on this one?
27 days. 27
Ouch.
days.
Ouch.
In the last 125 days, I will have, give or take, I will have spent about 90 of them behind bars.
Well, listen. I'm lucky. I get to talk to him every day for the most part. So
I was busy today, by the way.
yes, which is fine. Listen, stay busy. It's fun to me.
Well,
but
last night I sent you something where you didn't believe me.
which one? Oh yeah,
I gotta find it again. Where is it? Just so that I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, please, guys. You don't even. Nobody understands the text messages I get daily. Not one text message. I get like 30 a day, just random out of nowhere, and it's mainly bashing not only my New York beloved football Giants, their genius of a general manager.
Oh my God, they're fucking
Gettleman.
manager. Gettleman. Good.
Yes, and it's all I could do to stay friends with this man. But I have to let 40 years of friendship. I cannot just throw it away because he's lost his mind.
I'm trying to help you see.
I appreciate that.
All right, every team has a weak link, okay? And it just so happens that the New York Giants' weak link is their general manager.
Is that how is that officially what you're thinking? That's their big weakness this year. We're going to get into it because I wanted to ask you. We're going to talk about. I wanted to pick 3 Jets and 3 Giants who need to step up this year and have big years for their teams. And we'll do that a little later in the show. Again, we may do a couple of different things. We got the Jeffy Awards, which we'll do after around 8:10. We're going to do the Jeffy Awards. We're gonna talk about a little bit of course, Patrick Mahomes signing. Let's start it off a little bit, Jeff. We got a couple seconds.
Go ahead.
I applaud the Chiefs to a certain extent because they locked up a guy. He's their guy. I'm all for it, but $50 million of a $200 million salary cap, which by the way could go down next year. Okay,
I'm taking a chance.
So you've basically allotted 25% of your budget each year for one player, albeit a great one and one of the most important ones on your team. But Jeff, how do you build a team around that in going for the next 10 years?
Well, I'll tell you the truth. If it's unbelievable. The price that they put on this guy. That's one thing. Second of all, somewhere before that contract ends, they're going to be talking about what a bargain it is to have him for that money. You watch. I promise you. I promise you. Okay? Second of all, what's going to end up happening with him, because they invest so much in the quarterback, you're going to see other players play on their rookie deal, and then they're going to be gone. Right?
I agree with that.
I think, okay, that your scouting department is going to be so much more important than it already is, because now you have to make sure that these guys hit on picks. It can't be, you get 7 picks, you hit on 2. You're going to have to hit 4 or 5 picks a year so that you have depth, you have talent.
You can't miss
everything.
You can't miss.
Especially when you're paying Mahomes. You can't miss the playoffs for 2 years in a row. You might miss the playoffs this year, but you better be back in them for the next 3-4 seasons in a row. So you're going to have to hit on a lot of talent. I think it's going to wipe trades out. I really do, because nobody is going to take on some of these other players. Do you think that they may end up going the route of maybe the NBA, which is the way that their salary cap is structured, how people do contract dumps on teams? I mean, something's going to have to happen. Well, if you're going to be paying this much money to one player, something has to happen.
Well, think about it, Jeff. What's going to happen is, you're going to win a Super Bowl, maybe, or make some playoffs with your guy, and then you're going to dump him, and then some team may grab him for a year or two if that's the last piece of the puzzle. I think you're going to have a lot of the I don't want to say great quarterbacks. You're going to have a lot of the bigger name quarterbacks or a lot of first round draft pick quarterbacks who are going to bounce around a lot now, because you get to that 4th year and you're going, all right, he's not worth the minimum price for a quarterback of 27 or 30 million. Let me draft a new one. I mean, you're going to see a lot of turnover in quarterbacks in this league, which I never thought would happen. I don't think they have a choice.
It's going to be no choice. Either that or they're going to all sign up their guy, big money. And the rest of the team is just going to be revolving door.
Well, that's the other part. You're absolutely right. Well, look at the team. Let's put it this way. So here's a team like the Cowboys, and I'll use Dak Prescott because he begrudgingly signed a $31 million contract for this year for his franchise tag. Now if you're the Cowboys and you see Mahomes get that kind of money, are you going to sign Dak Prescott to $40 million next year? No. So you're Dallas. You don't win this year, you're going to be starting over with a new quarterback next year.
Yeah, but let's just say that come February, it's the Chiefs versus the Cowboys in the Super Bowl. Okay, which, by the way, I would absolutely love to see that for a lot of different reasons.
Chiefs Cowboys, why?
Chiefs Cowboys, because right now, think about this. We're talking about Mahomes and the money that they spent on him, the Chiefs, this, that, and the other thing.
Right.
Let's just say that Prescott, who didn't want to sign for $31 million, takes his team to the Super Bowl and wins. Okay, now his franchise tag is done. Okay, now you're the Cowboys. Just think of the money that he could end up getting. And let's just say, I don't know who the next one is, a big quarterback that's going to be up for the next big number. But let's just say that before Prescott finishes out his franchise tag, that somebody else signs for a big number. So now, if he's got the franchise tag, you get the top 3 average or something like that, or whatever.
Something like that. Yeah, it's a top 3 or 5 in the league. Yeah.
So I mean, if somebody else signs for a big number and pushes that number up,
yeah,
then it's going to be like the Cowboys going to be like, why didn't we sign this guy last year at this time? What is going on? Like, what are we going to do? But it's going to come down to it. These guys, these teams are going to have no choice. They're going to have to do something, whether they cap the position, maybe they're going to make a salary cap, offensive cap, defensive cap, or something of that nature. Yeah. Maybe they cap a position, but something is going to have to happen because, like you said, what happens? Who's going to be the first $50 million, $60 million man, $75 million man? It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Yeah, Jeff, you might be right. And our guest just popped up, so we're going to pick up Joe Bouchard in a second. But it's just, here's the thing. You're going to put a lot of pressure on teams to either dump quarterbacks early, okay, before they get into that position and give up on a guy, or force them to sign a guy way too early so you don't have to pay him that kind of money before the cap goes up every year. So it's putting teams in a bad spot with this contract.
You're not going to be able to do anything until, their 3rd year. They got to have 3 years in before you can negotiate.
Yeah,
so they got to play 3 years or be on their 3rd year before you could renegotiate. So some of these guys, look at Sam Darnold. I personally don't think that he's going to make it, to be honest, which I don't think he's the Jets' answer. But some people do think that he's the answer. And they're like, well, this is his 2nd year with Gase and all of this other bullshit that they're saying. I don't think it's going to matter. I think he's going to come out flat and fall down, to be honest with you. But let's just say that he doesn't. Now, thinking that last year, maybe you could have signed him for $20 million a year. Now, all of a sudden, Sam Darnold is worth maybe $42-43 million a year. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's insane money.
Absolutely.
Money.
Yeah. And we're going to talk much more about this tonight on the Happy Birthday Jeff show. We got our first guest up. We're going to bring him up now. Again, remember, guys, we're Hard Rocket Sports. We're here each Thursday night from 7 to 10, live here on our live stream on our Hard Rocket Sports Facebook page. And we hope you come back every Thursday night. We got some great guests coming up in the future. Ross the Boss. It will be here in a couple of weeks. Chris Gustafson from Trauma stops by in a couple of weeks. And next week, Ed Gage and Dave Starr. Dave K. Starr stopped by for a quick visit. We got lots of stuff coming up in the future. Remember, tonight is the big Jeff birthday show. We'll celebrate Jeff's birthday. And it's our last show on the radio side. The radio side goes away for a little while, but we'll be back. We're back every week right here live on TV or on our Facebook page. But now let's get our guest on. He is one of the founding members of the band Blue Oyster Cult. He is an amazing guitar player and songwriter, and he joins us to talk about his new album, Strange Legends, which drops this week. So let's get a very famous bass player, other than our famous bass player, Jeff Towinski, and we welcome Joe Bouchard to the show. Joe, welcome on. Tom Florio, the handsome guy on top, is Jeff. Welcome to our show.
Hey, Jeff.
How are you? Nice to meet you, man.
How you doing?
Good.
It's all good. It's all good. Good to see you guys.
Nice to see you, Joe. Thanks for hanging in there with us. And
You're
Joe,
welcome. You're welcome.
Joe, let's get right into it a little bit. You've been doing this a long time, and you got another great album hitting the streets in a couple of weeks. I got to listen to the single that's out right now. I'm just looking for my notes. Let's see. Singles Forget About Love. I have it up on my screen here. Joe, tell us a little bit about still making music, great music now, and tell us a little bit about
I'm having the best time of my life. It's awesome. I can't believe it. It's just exciting, you know. This is my 6th solo album, and you know, it keeps me off the streets. You know, it's a bit busy.
Well, Joe, tell us a little bit. We've had some great guests on in a few weeks, and I like to ask, especially you guys who are professional musicians, you know, how does the pandemic affected you and your what you do. I mean, is it forced you to write more? Is it kind of pushed you?
Yeah, actually, it's been very good. You know, you figure out what's really important, you know, and I'm dealing with this pretty well. You know, where I live is pretty safe, and we are, knock on wood, everything's good. Instead of me doing live gigs, though, I do these quarantine gigs where somebody like my brother, he sends me a drum track, I play my parts, I send them back to him, he sings a song, and we do these things. We've done about maybe 20 videos for charities in the last 2 or 3 months, and it's really good. I'm talking to a lot of really nice people, and I'm really excited about the album. It's doing really well all over the world. It's international, and yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Well, good for you. Now, Joe, let me ask you another question. This album was in the making for a while. Was
Yes.
it for a reason? Did you happen to just say, I'm gonna take my time? What was the impetus on taking the length of time this one took to get out?
Well, this really didn't take that long, maybe 2 years. But I was working also with another band called Blue Coupe, which includes Dennis Dunaway from Alice Cooper and my brother Albert. And we put out an album in last November, that's really good, called 11 Even. And we've been around for like 11 years. But I enjoy doing shows with Dennis because I get to do the Alice Cooper songs. I get to do Blue Oyster Cult songs. And we get to do our own solo songs and songs from our studio albums. So it's a great thing.
Well, let me ask you. A lot of times we get people on the show and they kind of run from their past. You don't seem to do that. Do you still enjoy playing some of that old stuff? Do you do it begrudgingly at all?
I am so privileged to be able to play some of the best rock songs ever written, and being a part of when they were recorded. And no, I love it all. You know, the problem is the shows aren't long enough to do all the songs I want to do.
Yeah.
So we're lucky in that respect. You know, it's not like, oh, what are we going to play tonight? It's like, what can't we play? You know?
Sure.
So it's all good. You know, I love the Alice Cooper songs. We started out as an opening act for Alice Cooper in 1972. And that's when I first met Dennis and Neil, the original band, all great guys. They inspired us and took us into the place that we ended up with Blue Oyster Cult in the 70s and the 80s. It's all good.
Okay, Jeff.
Joe, let me ask you something. Blue Oyster Cult, to me, I mean, I liked Blue Oyster Cult. I like a lot of the songs, but they were a band that just never seemed to, I don't know, catch on, I guess, like big time. Like they never made it to the next level. What happened? Why didn't they?
I think our time is coming. Our time is coming.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so.
You know, I talk to people all the time, and there's a whole sense of discovery about our classic albums. When we have Godzilla. You know, we have such classics. I mean, let's face it, the 90s was not a good decade for Blue Oyster Cult. I left the band. It was like hip hop and grunge and nothing that really was as real as what we put out. Now, since 2000, though, the whole catalog's just doing great. It's amazing. It's beyond belief. I thought maybe if it lasted 3 years, we'd be lucky. You know?
Well, you were in there for 16, and they're still going strong today for the most part today. So it's amazing, ain't it?
Eric and Donald are like the ever ready bunnies. They've been touring for over 45 years. Wow. And you know, they love what they do. They love the crowd, and they're coming out in great numbers these days. Occasionally we do a reunion. It's rare, you know. I don't know if I would do more or less, but you know, they're happy where they're at, and I'm pretty happy where I'm at because I get to do my own thing, make up my own set lists. You know, take some chances with some outside material. It's all good.
Oh, great. And Joe Bouchard is here. Joe's beside his solo stuff and the old days with Blue Oyster Cult and now Blue Coop also with his brother and Dennis. He's got the new album coming out here July 31st, Strange Legends. And we hope you guys go to joebouchard.com and all the other places to get it. We're going to give Joe a chance to get out there and talk more about it. Joe, you know, I want to ask you though. So, you know, when you do the solo stuff, you kind of change members as different guys in and out. When you write and then get in the studio with guys, you know, Mickey Curry, do you how much leeway do you give the studio musicians or your band once you get into the studio to record?
Well, I let Mickey hear the original demos, and I've been pretty good about programming drums, but there's nothing like having a real drummer. Oh my God. And he just nailed it. He really nailed it. You know, he's just one of the easiest guys to work with. And pretty much I played most all the other parts on the recording. So, you know, it's just a matter of making it, you know, mixed right, you know, mastered right, making sure that all the arrangements. And we recorded about 17 songs, and I only used 11. So there's 6 other songs that are really great, but you know, they didn't quite fit in with this set. And this set I thought was like the perfect set. You know?
Well, let me ask you because it's on my list of questions. So you help me segue right into it. You know, when you're writing an album and you're writing songs, and is there in your head, is there a theme to the songs you're writing, or is there a theme to picking the songs to fit on that album? Like you know the topics.
It's more picking the songs. I wrote in a bunch of different styles. I've been watching a lot of TV, watching a lot of old movies, watching a lot of old serials. I get ideas. I'm not really a movie buff, but I got time now. I got time to watch movies.
Yeah,
as we all do.
Yes, unfortunately, you're.
You know what I mean? I'd rather be out, you know, playing gigs. I miss those gigs that where the place is packed,
right?
And everybody's like, their hands are up in the air, and they're all singing along. That's the biggest, hardest thing about the quarantine right now. It's like I miss those big crowds. You know? And we played in Sweden last summer. It was fantastic at the Sweden Rock Festival. And it was like that. The place went absolutely crazy. It was a beautiful summer night. We just had the perfect weather, and our fans in Sweden are just amazing. They love the whole catalog of songs. So I'm hoping that you know, when things open up, I'll be back out on the road for sure. Don't hold me down. I'm ready to go.
Good for you, Joe. We hope you keep doing it a long time. But let me ask you, you know, I understand getting out there playing is a lot of fun, but you know, writing music and selling music and producing it is a much of a chore now. Is it still important for you to write new music? Is it still important?
Yeah. I had several people help me with the songs. One of my next door neighbor that I grew up with is a tremendous songwriter, John Cook, and he wrote 4 of the songs on this album. I co-wrote 2 of the songs with John Shirley, who's a science fiction writer, and he wrote the screenplay for The Crow. Tremendously creative guy. He also writes lyrics for Blue Oyster Cult, the current Blue Oyster Cult. So he just sent me an email and said, I like your work. And I said, well, hey, send me some lyrics. And 2 of the songs on this album came from John Shirley, and it was a pleasure to work with him. And I'm sure I'm going to do more of that kind of thing. And then the rest of the songs, there's an instrumental. There's several that I wrote just because I had a great idea for a song. I was watching an old movie called The African Queen, and that's the first song on the album.
Okay.
And that was so easy because I had heard about this movie for a long time, but I never watched it.
Mm-hmm.
And once I saw it, I said, "Oh, it's be a perfect idea for a song,"
Mm-hmm.
and was really easy to write. So, and it's all high energy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple ballads later in the album, but
Mm-hmm.
most of it is like pump you up type music,
Yeah, I listened to the single "Forget About Love." You have another single popping out soon, right? Is there a
Yeah,
second
next
single
week.
coming up?
Yeah, next week it's going to be called "She's a Legend," which is one of those John Shirley songs. And several people have said, "Now that really sounds like a classic Blue Oyster Cult song." Well, I'm using his lyrics. I don't really try to write like Blue Oyster Cult, but it's in my blood. I was there in the beginning, and it's what I do. Even if I want to try to write other stuff.
Well, you know what? It's again, Joe. You must be reading my notes because I wrote a question out, and I said, when you write for a band like Blue Oyster Cult for so many years, and you kind of have that thought process, and you know the other players in the band, and you kind of write that way. Is it tough to write differently, or do you try to make a conscious decision after Blue Oyster Cult to write and say, I don't want to sound like Blue Oyster Cult, or is it just that's what comes out of you?
Well, I started doing my solo albums because I wanted to do acoustic music, and I quickly found out that I'm not James Taylor, never will be.
Thank God.
And so it's sort of weaved around in some different styles over the years, but it's I think I want to do what I do best, which is the good hard rock songs, and there's a lot of good ones on this record. So,
absolutely, I'm looking forward to it coming out. I can't wait to get my hands on it. And guys, make sure you go to joebouchard.com for to be able to buy it, and you'll get all the different places from Joe before we're done. And we're here celebrating not only Joe's new album but Jeff's birthday. So a lot of people,
yes.
Jeff, saying hello, happy birthday to Jeff on.
Happy birthday, Jeff!
Thank you, Joe. Thank you. I got a question for you.
Sure.
After so many years of being with Blue Oyster Cult and playing, is there any of those songs, even though that most of them have made you the person you are today in the music world, or any of those songs that you can't stand to even say?
No. I hear every once in a while songs that I wish I had worked on harder back then, maybe polished them up a little bit more. But overall, even a lot of artists say, I can't stand that hit. Eric Burdon and the Animals couldn't stand House of the Rising Sun. Wait a minute, it's House of the Rising Sun. It's a great song. So no, the songs that we get to do are pretty special. So I have no problem. Some of the deep cuts, I just leave them for other people to do. But all the hits are great, and we're blessed that people still think about our music in positive terms. We didn't, maybe, like I said, maybe we didn't go over the top, we weren't the Rolling Stones, but we're still around, and the music still resonates with a lot of people.
Oh, no, yeah, definitely, Joe. And here's the thing. I mean, you guys have had, the band Blue Oyster Cult's had some resurgence with, all the Saturday Night Live stuff. Metallica covering some of your songs. I think they covered one of yours. So you've been introduced to a whole new generation of people. Yeah,
and since, like I said, the '90s wasn't so great, but since 2000 with the Metallica cover, other things that happened were. The Reaper's been in 75 movies and TV shows and video games. I mean, how about Guitar Hero?
Oh yeah,
everybody, all of these young kids, they're playing along in Guitar Hero to our songs. How can you can't count on that? You never thought it would happen.
Free publicity
when we first recorded it. Yeah.
Yeah, free publicity, and the catalog keeps getting put out there, and it's an amazing career. But I want to go back real quick because we don't have much more time with you. You got the call to be in Soft White Underbelly. Going to be into by your brother because they're getting rid of their bass player, and the Blue Oyster Cult or Soft White Underbelly was going to open for a band that had a little success later on named Led Zeppelin.
Yes,
And-
we were supposed to do the Led Zeppelin tour.
And you had 2 weeks to learn all the songs and run out there and play.
It
Tell
was
us a little
easy.
bit.
It was easy.
Jeff does
Actually-
that all the time. Jeff does that all the time. Jeff's the resident musician on the show. He's a great bass player himself.
Oh, great.
partner.
Great.
But that's got to be interesting. You, Joe, you've had such a great career. Just if you retired after the first 16 at Blue Oyster Cult, it's
It
great.
would have been fine.
But you trudged on
I
for
am-
30 some more years.
I'm feeling good. I'm really feeling good. I still my fingers still work, and my brain hasn't fried completely. So I'm going to use it as much as I can.
Oh, good for
And,
you. It's still great
yeah.
stuff. But real quick before I let you go, when I listen to the new single, it's such a straight rock and roll, simple, easy, clean song, and it just you sit there and you find yourself just kind of bopping along to it. It's got to feel good when you listen back to that now and just say, I'm still writing great ones.
Yeah. Well, I certainly put together a good arrangement on that one. I love the fact that the guitar just goes all the way through the song. It hardly stops, when and there's not too many songs out there like that these days,
Yeah,
If you try to listen to the top 10, oh my God.
yeah.
I'm thinking, I know it's not for me. It's
Me
for my
either.
grandkids.
Nah, yeah, but you know what? Like you said, because of things like Guitar Hero and video games and some movies, our kids, our grandkids are at least getting to hear some of that great music that was written when I was a kid. My first introduction to Blue Oyster Cult was early '80s. Jeff and I in New York. We were both from the New York area. Just have thing called Friday Night Videos on NBC every week.
Yeah. I watched it religiously when I wasn't gigging.
And the first video I think I ever saw in there was Godzilla. That's why I played it. And to this day, it's one of those songs that no matter when it comes on, if I turn it on someplace, middle of the song or not, I got to listen to it. I love that song. Love that song.
Thank you.
My first taste of Blue Oyster Cult was, of course, Don't Fear the Reaper, which I would catch on the radio once in a while when I would play the stereo when my mother and father were at home, because they would listen to, WNBC, WABC, they had AM radio in the car. So when I started to listen to music, it was like on WPLJ. And sometimes I catch the tail end of it. And like I didn't know who it was. And I was like, wow, that song is great. And then it took me a couple times before I finally found out who it was. And then, because we couldn't just go to the store at that age. We didn't have money to buy stuff. And once we got into high school, we started collecting records and tapes. But I remember hearing
I got a bunch of them back
grade.
there. I got a bunch of those collections.
Yeah, I'm sure. But it was
that's great.
stuff, man.
So you heard the end of Reaper, and it was so intriguing. You had to hear the beginning.
Yeah, something like that.
You
Yeah,
just heard the fade out. Like, what the hell was
it was
that?
great stuff, man. Great stuff. And you know what song I really dig? Believe it or not, Joan Crawford. Did you?
Oh,
Did you guys play that one a lot?
Yeah, we played that a lot live. That was great. My friend David Roeder from Brooklyn wrote that song with my brother and another guitar player, and I did the original demo. It was great. I went over to my brother's house, and I'm in the garage banging on the piano. He says, "Let me record this," and I was just like jamming out on the piano that he had in his garage. And then the next thing I know, he brings the demo in, and my piano part is all spliced into the song, So even though Alan, our keyboard player, played the piano on that recording, I did the original piano part on the demo for the recording. So that was a great creative time, we didn't expect anything was going to come out of it, but
and you want
a little magic.
A little further to show how the three of us are connected, and we never even knew this. Tom, you never knew this. I remember buying that album, Origin of Unknown Fire, correct?
Fire of Unknown Origin, yeah.
Tommy was playing baseball. You played baseball at the old Newdorp, and I left school, went after school to the music store, our music down in Newdorp,
Yep.
bought that album, and then came back up and watched you play baseball after school. Well, I had that album, and then I went home and I heard that album. So how is that?
Wow.
That we were a little connected, the three of us, back in the
Yeah.
80s.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
Who
man.
would believe you're talking to the bass player right now?
It's amazing, Joe. Jeff and I have been friends for nearly 40 years now, and it doesn't
It
seem
is
right.
40 years, bro.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
year is 40 years.
Wow, it's crazy. But yeah, Joe, listen, you guys, forget about anything forward. Good, just you can retire on the first half of it. But we're glad you're still going strong, and the music's still great. So I hope you keep doing it, and I hope to get you back on again when things open up and you can start touring again. Love to have you back because there's so much more to talk to you about. You're just a mountain.
We'll make sure you get both of you guys get some CDs.
Oh, that would be great.
CD. Yeah,
Thank you.
I certainly appreciate that. But Joe, I know I'm giving out the website joebouchard.com. You get July 31st. The album drops. Strange Legend. You get anything else you want to promote? Any social media stuff? Any of that kind of stuff?
I wish I could tell you about the big tour, but the big tour is on hold right now.
Shame.
But I've already done a bunch of videos. So I have official videos coming out for all these songs, and they will be available. So check them out. Tell all your friends.
No, we'll be playing as much of it as we can here on the show, and we'll put it up on our website. And Joe, listen, I can't say thank you enough. It's an honor to have you on our show. You're a great guest, and I hope you'll come back again sometime, talk more with us. Maybe we'll come up some more stories from our youth that you can listen to. But
I'm sure we can talk for a week.
Absolutely. But Joe, on behalf of Jeff and myself, thank you for coming on the Hard Rock and Sports Show. Much continued success. Keep doing it. Don't stop, because when you guys like you stop, there's nobody coming up on the rear end right now. There's nobody coming up behind you. That's the sad part. So please don't stop doing it. Don't fear the Reaper, and come on back, Joe Bouchard, please, to Hard Rock and Sports.
Well, great talking to you guys.
Thanks, Joe. Good luck.
Right.
Everybody, Joe Bouchard. Go back. Make sure you support this gentleman. Go ahead, guys. Take care, Joe.
Yes, you too.
Thank you.
Nice guy, Jeff. Nice guy. Really nice guy. And I'm telling you, his single's a great little song, and I'm looking forward to the entire album dropping. I really am.
Check some of them out. He was a real cool guy.
Yeah.
It's just nice to talk to some of these older guys. He was cool. He was a little out there, little whack.
Yeah, listen,
that's fine, man.
That's music. That's it's the free thinkers that that's the kind of guy. By the way, a lot of people, whoever Amy Goldberg is, Amy, thanks for jumping into Hard Rock and Sports. Amy said to say hello, and happy birthday to Jeff. Paul Gill saying hello. So a lot of people celebrating the Jeff birthday.
Yeah, there you go, man. I don't see. Let me look around. I don't see no fucking presents.
Listen, your mine's being delivered. I think the truck just went by. Unfortunately, you might have to go out after the show and see if you catch up to him. But
my wife is downstairs just in case anything comes through the mail.
That's true.
Did just throw a hint out there this morning.
I did see. I had to read it twice. I went, I wear. Oh, I get it now. But yeah, we're Hard Rock and Sports. We're here every week, Thursday night, 7 to 10. And last show on the radio side, I'm a little misty-eyed over it, Jeff. A little misty-eyed over no more radio show for a little while. I love the radio portion of the show, but now everybody gets to see two middle-aged, handsome guys, I guess.
There you go, man.
But we've had some great guests. We got some good ones coming up. Ross the Boss in a couple weeks. Chris Gustafson from Trauma stops by. I got a lot of people locked and loaded. Go to Spotify.com for some of the old shows, and check out hardrockandsports.com to get an idea who we are and what we do and how we've done it. And all the people who've been on the show, I can't thank everybody enough. Of course, we're celebrating the big Jeff birthday show tonight. How's it feel, man? Another year older, another year handsomer. How's it feel?
I woke up. Now let's see if I do it again tomorrow.
That's certainly true, Jeff. That's certainly true. But we got a lot of friends listening in tonight. We appreciate everybody stopping by. We got a lot to get to. Waiting for Tommy Gunn, Tommy Grassley to stop by. I think he's having a little bit of problems getting on, but we'll hang in there for Tommy. But Jeff, let's get back to Patrick Mahomes a little bit, because we didn't really finish that. There's a lot more to get to with that one. And
how do you pressure they put on this kid?
Yeah, that's a good point too. Beside the pressure on him, you're putting pressure on all the other GMs in the league, a lot of the other quarterbacks. This deal, while I'm sure the players themselves think this is a great deal, I think this actually hurts the players because you're going to get a lot of turnover in this league now because people are not going to be able to sign a lot of people to this kind of contract, and you're going to have a lot of teams rotating players after 3 years.
Yeah, it's possible, but here's the thing, Tom. All right, this has been proven to me several times over. When
Sure.
you're watching the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
and they're in the middle of the second quarter, and they're like, "Well, so and so is already looks like he's going to be going to his hometown team in Philadelphia, or this guy is going to be going to Arizona because they need a running back or whatever the case is." These guys are connected to teams before their contracts run out and everything else. But none of them, it's all about money. None of them are actually playing so that they could go after a championship. Very few players. It's all about money. So if you asked a player, and if you would say, listen, you could play 1 year, okay, in the league. You could play 3 years in the league, win 2 championships, and make $20 million over the course of 3 years, or you could play 3 years in the league, make $50 million, and never even come close to the playoffs. Which one are you going to do?
Yeah, the problem is 3 years in the league, you're not making the 50 million or the 20 million because the rookie deals are much shorter than that, Jeff, much lower.
I understand that, but I'm just using it as a number.
Oh, I get your point. I get your point.
Eventually, we may not be alive to see it, but the number is going to go through the roof.
Agreed.
Eventually, these rookies are going to get numbers like you wouldn't believe. I don't know if they're going to get $50 million a year.
Well, I mean, now you're talking about redoing the CBA next time and trying to get away from that because again, if your general managers, you're going to want to turn over your roster and keep it as young as possible. Yes, you said it before. Your scouting department's going to be under the gun now. You can't miss on a draft pick. You have to make every one of them count. You're going to be ciphering through other people's trash, so to speak, and grabbing players that haven't really done it and looking for a small contract.
I don't know, Tom. I don't know if you're going to see that now, simply because it's going to be like, you know what? If you're going to be paying these people and they don't produce and they get cut or whatever, that may be it.
Well, I agree with you, but
play again.
I agree. Listen, I agree. Anthony Carey shopping by saying happy birthday to Jeff. Thank you, Anthony. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Anthony. He was nice enough to send me a text message earlier. I miss Anthony Carey, man. I miss seeing Anthony. I miss him in Red Room and everything. I wish things were a little different, Anthony, but we all understand, and we got to wish you luck.
Absolutely.
You're up against. Just to wish you were back, man. That's all.
Yeah, but thanks everybody who's out there listening to Jeff and I tonight. We're celebrating the Big Jeff birthday show. We had Joe Bouchard on. Wait for Tommy Grassley, Big Tommy Gunn. Looking forward to Tommy coming on. If he can get on, we'll see how that works. But we got a lot to get to right now. Hey, Dig, Pete D'Agostino checking in. I haven't seen your arch enemy Lou Pica yet tonight. I don't know where Luke is. Surprisingly, we haven't seen Lou tonight.
Listen, whatever. If he comes on, he comes on. Maybe I insulted him so much to the point where he don't want to come on. I don't know.
Jeff, for your birthday tonight, I wore my special shirt.
Oh, I can't really even see it. All I see is tits.
My New England Patriots shirt for your birthday because I think our guest has finally made his way onto the show. We're going to bring
on today. I got this shirt with this fucking pink gorilla on.
What the hell? What are you wearing?
A Chapter 1 tattoo shirt. Tattoo parlor.
Okay.
San Diego.
All right. I want to know. Are you getting checks? Are you getting checks now from Chapter 1 Tattoo? Is that what's going on now?
Maybe. Who knows?
I'll have to do an investigation.
I haven't gotten any free tattoo work. That's for damn sure.
Hard Rock and Sports are here. We're going to after our next guest who's going to be on in 1 minute. We're going to be doing the Jeffy Awards. That's right. We have our own new segment, the Jeffy Awards. We'll do them every year. Maybe we'll do them every month. Who the hell knows? But we got the Jeffy Awards.
Nothing is going to happen between now and next month. What's going to happen?
That's true.
Baseball player to drop out or whatever.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get to the Jeffy Awards tonight. We're going to talk a little bit more about Patrick Mahomes. We're going to talk Jets and Giants. We're going to talk about the Redskins changing their name, how the PC police is cancel culture is running around out there again. and Deshaun Jackson, and plenty of other stuff here. We might even do a little wrestling play-by-play tonight. So we got a lot to get to, but right now we're gonna get to our next guest. I want to find out who is Tommy Gunn by picking him up and getting this nice young man from Canada on our show. And of course, there he is, the one and only Tommy Gunn. Tommy Grassley joins Jeff and I here on the Hard Rocket Sports Show. Tommy, welcome to the show.
Hey boys, how's it going?
All right, man. How are you?
Not too bad. Got a couple of Jersey boys with me, eh?
No, actually, Jeff's from Staten Island, New York. I am originally from there.
Oh, sorry, Jeff. Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you. He's the only one that's escaped over to Jersey. I'm still stuck here.
Yeah, Jeff and I are friends for 40 years. We grew up in the same neighborhood, and we've managed to stay friends, even though I've moved away, got thank God in the nick of time from the current administration in New York. But we won't get into politics now. What time
here in fucking Thunderdome.
The love of brothers, eh? That's it. I mean,
That's it.
wow, that's fabulous, man. That's a fabulous story. You've been friends for 40 years, and here
Yes.
you are. You have a great show together. Like, I mean, that's you couldn't get any better.
That's the way I feel. That's certainly the way I feel. So, but tonight, Tommy, it ain't about us. It's about you for a couple of minutes. So let's talk a little bit about Tommy Gunn. Who is Tommy Gunn? And tell us a little bit about I Believe in Love, which has been out since coincidentally February 14th. I'm assuming there was a little thought process into that, Tom. So tell us a little bit about what you've been up to and what you're going to be doing.
Well, you know, it's all rock and roll, and I grew up in rock and roll. My father played in a band called Crowbar, and Ray Materick before that. But Crowbar had a big hit in the 70s called "Oh, What a Feeling, What a Rush." Anyways, fast forward, you know, I'm a musician myself and a singer-songwriter and recording artist. And this album, I Believe in Love, I did release. I was in LA. It was being really received well in Los Angeles. And then I released it February 14th, Valentine's Day. And the next thing you know, COVID hit. Like, I wanted to tour and everything, and like that's all on hold, right? And like,
Oh boy, yeah.
I mean, you know, it's crazy, but it's being received well. And like, I've been making videos and stuff like that in the meantime to promote the album. And I've written a new album. So there you go.
So is COVID now? Obviously, listen, it's not, especially for musicians like yourself. You want to be out there, you want to be playing. So, but now it's, you know, you're home, you're hunkered down, you put up the first album. Now you write a second one. So there's a ton of material when you do get out there and play. But have you been a guy who's been out doing live stream shows? Have you been doing acoustic stuff on video? And have you tried that yet?
That's a great question. And by the way, this is my second album, and I've written the third album. But no, I don't do the acoustic thing because that's not my sound. My sound is 5-piece rock and roll in your face, and I don't fuck around with that. I don't want to fucking change that. That's what it is. So I don't want to diminish it by playing an acoustic thing when it's not that. It's full blown in your face. That's what my rock and roll is, and it's classic rock sound. I don't know. Remember when there was like classic rock sound? Now
Sure.
Classic rock is 40-year-old music, right? Well, I'm bringing new stuff that nobody has brought. It seems like no new rock and roll. So that's what I'm all about. And this album, I think it goes from hate to love in 35 minutes. It's a full listen, start to finish. And that's the experience. And, you know, the message is quite real. And I think the message has really never been needed more than now in this world, honestly.
Oh, agreed. Now, Tommy, you've had some struggles over the years. How much of that influences your writing? And do you ever have to go? I asked the same question to Lita Ford. Lita Ford had a lot of issues in her life, and when she was coming back, I asked her on the show, how much, and she said sometimes she had to put the brakes to it a little bit and be careful of how dark her material would get or how much it would influence it. How about yourself? How, when you write, especially early on in your writing for the first album, was Unleash the Hounds, if my memory is correct. How much did it influence, and do you kind of pump the brakes on it at all?
Well, it's interesting because when I released that album, the first album in 2013 was kind of a dark part of my life.
Mhm.
And then in 2014, I met my wife, and my whole life changed. She inspired this album, I Believe in Love. It changed my heart from black to red, and it made me pump again. And really moving forward, the next album is another concept album, but it's on a positive vibe. I don't have time for negativity anymore. It seems like I wasted way too much time on that in the past, and I'm not going to do it anymore. It's all about being surrounded by love and great music and great people like yourselves, and that's what, to me, that's what it's all about.
Well, he's Tommy Gunn. Guys, what is and who is Tommy Gunn? Tell us what that is before I say it. So is that a band name? Tell us a little about Tommy Gunn.
Well, I'm a hound dog like Jeff. He's a character, I can tell already by the beard.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely, yes.
I'm digging it, Jeff. Like you bass players are the silent type. I know, the strong silent type. But you bring it heavily, and it's total bottom end, and I totally dig it. And on my album, I had the same bass player throughout the whole album. He played on every song. His name's Mike King from Hamilton, Ontario. I'm a Hamilton boy, and I'm born and raised in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. I live in Toronto now and partly in LA, but mostly in Toronto. And yeah, it's a blue collar town. So I mean, when you're raised in a blue collar town, it's feast or famine. You learn respect, and you know when to open your mouth and when not to. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, and you've been very busy, Tommy. And I know also, if my notes are correct, and hopefully they are, you're writing a book. Is that correct? You're naming, and you did say you're naming names. What kind of names are we naming, and what are we talking about?
I don't know. You'll have to wait to see. But
come on, Tommy. Hey, come on.
It's iconic movie stars. It's total rock and roll. Crowbar was a very big band in the 70s, and they, I met a lot of really cool people, my dad's friends, and, your previous guest, Joe Bouchard, Kelly J wrote a song on Alice Cooper's Welcome to My Nightmare, the second song called Devil's Food. And Kelly's on my video, Hounds of Hamilton. And he was like an uncle to me. He passed away, but he told me he got paid $20 for that from Alice Cooper's manager. You know what I mean? He actually framed the check. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong with $20, but he framed the check because it was ridiculous. But yeah, and Kelly J was like a hound, he's Captain Canada. He was, and a huge influence in my life, in my music. And I'd like to say Ray Materik was a huge influence as well, because my father played with Ray for 10 years as well. And Ray Materik, Linda Put the Coffee On. These are all old 70s school rockers who influenced me, and now I bring it, man. Total rock and roll. I'll bring, in this album, I Believe in Love, I cover 4 genres. I cover blues, rock, kind of like a glam rock, and metal. And I bring it all. Next is country, I guess, right?
Got expanded. As long as you don't do grunge, I'm following you. And if you want to follow Tommy, check him out on TommyGrassley.com for more information on what he's up to and all the good things coming. And Jeff, Robert Finelli, a good friend of mine from work, is checking in, said to say happy birthday to Jeff on the Big Jeff Happy Birthday Jeff show, which we've done the last 5 years here. So thanks for everybody, especially thanks to Tommy for giving us some time. Tom, you bring up your family. A lot of musicians in your immediate family. I think your grandfather was cousins with Rod Stewart. So tell us a little bit about growing up and your influences, and like you said, your music kind of runs the gamut. What were your influences? What got you tunneled into where you are now?
Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, Pink Floyd. The same as you guys, right? But then locally, Crowbar, Teenage Head, Alice Cooper, no question. Greg Godovitz and Gatto. I co-wrote a song on this with Gatto. Gatto was as far as I'm concerned, Gatto wrote the best intro in rock and roll. As far as I'm concerned, The Act of Gatto, the first song, it's unbelievable. huge influence, and like that is rock and roll. It's not like today's rock. Like, I mean, I dig the metal. Like on metal, I have Varga. I don't know if you're familiar with Svengali. Well, Dan Fila plays on that metal song Junction 66. Dan Fila is the drummer for Varga Svengali.
Okay.
And Dan's a good friend of mine. I went to school with Dan. We've known each other for 35, 40 years. And Joey Varga and Dan came and helped me out with this song about our friend called Jeffrey Carl Thompson. It's called Junction 66, and it's a metal song on I Believe in Love. And I don't know, man. It's as heavy as it gets. You know what I mean? Like, Dan is an amazing drummer, and Svengali is doing great now too with RFL Records and such, as you know.
Yes, I do. Yes, Svengali signed over with our good friend John Mar Hefker and everybody over at the RFO Records, who I am a huge fan of all the bands on the label. So, yeah, that's great. And yes, Robert Finelli, the flag over my shoulder is actually one planted on the moon, and it's a really great picture. And I'm obviously a big fan of the American flag, but we're talking to a guy from Canada. So, Tommy spends a little time out here, but yes, TommyGrassley.com.
I spent a lot of time in Los Angeles because of my wife. My wife is a writer in feature film and television. And so I was in LA for 6 weeks until February 22nd. We came back. But I have a good friend who bought Easy Riders magazine and is going to ramp that right up. I can't wait to play at Sturgis and stuff like that with him. And the new album I'm going to record in Los Angeles. So with my friends there that I've met in 6 weeks that I was there, I had great meetings with some great people, and they love my music and they want to work with me. So I'm going to record my next album in Los Angeles.
Good for you. And listen, don't be afraid to tell your wife about the Hard Rocket Sports Show. Let her know that we're available for future TV work, and we're looking to get you out there. So make sure you kind of let her know about the Hard Rocket Sports Show. Guys, everybody should sign up for the Hard Rocket Sports Show YouTube channel. That way you can subscribe and get, the show actually broadcasts now to the YouTube channel as well as on Facebook. And looking forward to everybody checking us out. So make sure you subscribe and go to TommyGrassley.com and make sure you follow him because he's put out some great music. He's got a book, and I'm not happy he's not naming names here on the show, but he'll come back after he puts the book out there, and we'll be able to have some stories. How's that, Tommy?
Exactly. You guys rock, man. Your show is out of New Jersey, isn't it? Or is it out of New York?
Well, yeah, I'm in New Jersey. I'm in Jersey. Jeff's in Staten Island, so we're kind of and the show's seen everywhere. That we have people listening in Australia and in the UK, so we're kind of a little bit everywhere. We're trying to grow ourselves here, and we'd love to have guests like yourself and Joe Bouchard on, and all those great guests. So it helps us too having guys like you on our show.
Definitely. Thank you for having me on your show. You guys rock, man.
Hey, before we lose you, I know you're a big hockey fan. Tell me.
That's true.
The current format that they're going to go into, it's kind of like a tournament setting. Is that interesting you? As a hockey fan, is what they're going to play now and have a playoff and a championship? What's your thoughts, real fast?
I think it's very interesting, and I think it's very exciting that everybody has a chance at winning the Stanley Cup this year.
Yeah.
You know? That's the way it is. It's the hottest team going into this sort of like tournament thing who's going to do it all, right? So it's not
it's crazy
games, right?
This to me, Tommy, is the ultimate in the hot goalie is going to win. That's the norm. Usually, you get a team. Hello, Sharon Talwinski. But you get but even more so now, you get a goalie on a hot streak here. Forget it. It's over. Like there's no momentum. You're going to build your momentum yourself.
So you go in saying there's a lot of pressure, though, right?
Oh, sure.
Saying you guys got to be great right from the start.
Yeah. There's no, you can't like you said, normally into the playoffs, you kind of coast in, you're kind of building your momentum. Now it's like puck drops, it's over. You're playing full speed ahead. And again, hot goalie wins the championship. And right now, anybody's game.
I think everybody's going to tune into it. Quite frankly, I think it's going to be huge and very exciting.
Yeah, I agree.
Hockey's a fast game anyways, right?
Yeah, listen, there's very little better than the hockey playoffs. I've been a hockey fan my whole life, not so much the last few years. It's kind of But the Rangers suck, so it makes it even harder. But you get to the playoff time,
You're
and
not
it's
a New York
just
boy
great
anyway.
hockey.
You're,
What?
You're a Devil's boy.
I remember Pat Hickey on the Rangers. Pat Hickey. Do you remember Pat Hickey?
Sure. Listen, I go back to the '70s with Don Murdoch. And,
Messier? Come on, Rangers had a huge team. My buddy Tim Ford, he's an author. He loves the Rangers. And I'll tell you, the Rangers have always had a pretty competitive team. I mean, look at the Leafs. That's my team, man. How sorry do you feel for me?
well, the problem with you guys up there, you're kind of sometimes in the shadow of a couple of teams up that way in Montreal and Edmonton. But listen, you're talking about one of the original six. I mean, a great, proud franchise, Poe. So nothing wrong with being a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. Love the jersey, love the uni. So that's one of my favorite things is the uniforms.
I know, but we've been waiting since 1967 for a cup, man.
I get it. Believe me when I tell you, I get it. But Tommy, so the new album's out. Where can everybody find I Believe in Love? Where can they get it? Where can they download it? Where can they buy it?
Yeah, well, it's available at iTunes, Spotify. It's just a digital release right now. Until I start touring, then I'll have CDs and albums and stuff, lots of merchandise to go. But right now, I just released it digitally just to hopefully create awareness and let people stream it and start to dig the vibe. And hopefully this COVID stuff's going to clear up and we're going to be able to tour because I want to tour the whole U.S. and Canada and probably Australia and Japan is another place I want to tour who's been talking to me. So, it's just a matter of when,
Right. Well, I hope it happens for you. Let me ask you this. So in the meantime, are you going to push to get the new album out or are you going to let it kind of percolate and see how it flows?
Well, I'm trying to do it. I'm spreading the word. I'm trying to get it out there like everyone else. You know what I mean? It's a tough go, but I mean,
well, so you said you wrote you said you wrote another one. The third album, is that going to come out soon, or are you going to hold that off?
Well, I got to go to Los Angeles and record it, so I'm just waiting till it opens up to go there.
Yeah, you can't even travel, right? You have the travel restriction from Canada here, right?
That's right. And trust me, there's going to be huge, iconic stars on this new album from the U.S.
Well, I'm looking forward to, not only naming names for the book, but naming names for who's going to appear on the album. And I'm hoping that you're going to give us a little bit of an insight, maybe a little early warning, and come back on and do some announcements when you're ready.
For sure, bro. Definitely.
We love having you on time. I love the new stuff. I wish you success. I can't wait for you to get out on the road. Maybe get in this area. We can come see you play. And in the meantime, everybody's got to go to TommyGrassley.com. What about social media, Tommy? Where are you on social media?
I'm on Twitter at Tommy Gun Hound, Instagram Tommy Gun Love, and Facebook obviously Tommy Gun or Tommy Graisley.
All right, so we got Tommy here. We're going to say thank you so much for giving us your time. You're welcome here anytime. You got something you want to say, you want to just pop in. You let me know. We'd love to have you, and we will absolutely positively keep promoting your stuff. And we wish you success. And listen, don't be a stranger, my friend. Glad to have you on the show.
Thanks, Tommy. I really dig your name. And Jeff, happy birthday. I hope you're surrounded by love and great music all day today, brother.
Thank you, man.
That's Tommy Graisley. He's stopping by. Tommy Gunn, everybody check him out and make sure you check out I Believe in Love. It's great stuff. We got it out there for you. Tommy, be safe and keep up the fight, my man. Hopefully we'll see you soon.
Thanks, brother.
Take care. Tommy Graisley, everybody. Take care, Tom.
Peace.
All right, Jeff. So that's another great guest, another guy wishing you a happy birthday. And lots of people out there checking in just to make sure they get to see Jeff for his birthday. So
not a card in the fucking mailbox, not a box on the stoop.
Well, Jeff, maybe it's all don't forget the birthday's tomorrow, Jeff, so maybe it's all coming tomorrow.
I don't give a fuck.
Let's see, Jeff.
Actually, that's a lie. I got something today.
You did? What'd you get?
I got this. My wife gave me this little battery operated fan.
Okay.
It's actually pretty cool.
Listen, that is fine. But Jeff, it's time for the Jeffy Awards. It's definitely time for the Jeffy Awards.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
It's time for the Jeffy Awards. So, Jeff, how would you like to play the Jeffy Awards out?
Well, we kind of really have no choice other than to do it in the order that we discussed because
Okay.
where did I have written down?
Well, would you like to do all of yours, or we could take one category? I give mine, you give yours.
Back and forth, man.
Okay, so I'm going to open up the file, and we're gonna do. We'll have to you have to kind of go slow with me because I got to get the pictures up.
All right, but let me start while you're still doing
Sure,
it.
whenever you're ready. So,
And I hope that you don't have any naked pictures of yourself in that file by accident. You put one up there.
I do not have any naked pictures of myself up in the file. I promise you that. Nobody, including myself, wants to see that.
Because I can only imagine you probably look like the letter Q if you're naked.
I'm not even going to go there with this one, Jeffrey. We're close. We ain't that close. I'm not discussing that with you. So
You look like a uppercase Q, don't you, with the little sticking out. But anyway,
good.
Just so that everybody knows, what we did is we just came up with different ideas. We always come up with ideas. So we let's do something different. So here we are. And we have 17 different categories that cover baseball, basketball, football, hockey, and a little music. So we're going to start off with baseball. So the first one, and the first award that we're going to go for is overall, who we think the overall best baseball player is.
Yep.
So for me, my pick had to be Lou Gehrig. Probably my who I think is the greatest baseball player of all time. I mean, look at him. He just looks like the prototypical baseball player. Well, there he goes.
What happened to Lou? Hold on. Lou disappeared. I'll get him back up there. There he is. Okay.
Okay. And it's just Lou Gehrig. I mean, the
Yeah.
uniform, the fit, the look, the stance, just like, to me, just great. And think of the numbers he put up
Oh, yeah.
playing with Babe Ruth. Imagine if he didn't have Babe Ruth, maybe he would have put up the greatest numbers of all time.
Yeah, Jeff, it's hard to argue. I mean, he gets overshadowed by Babe Ruth and his personality, but I agree with you. Now, I'm a bigger fan of maybe Mickey Mantle or some of those like that, but when you nail it down and you look at how his career was shortened and he played behind Babe Ruth, to me, it's very little argument in my end that Lou Gehrig probably is the best baseball player of all time. That's just one I'm going to agree with you on.
Yeah, I just, any of the stories that I've read about him, the history of the numbers, I just think that he seemed like he was a genuine person. Of course, we don't know what he was actually like.
Right.
But he seemed like he was a cool person, a genuine person, and just a great baseball player. And you can't take that away from him. And to play with Babe Ruth and to put up those numbers like that, playing behind Babe Ruth, and, just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, now the second category is favorite player. This is where I lose Lou Gehrig, but you also have Lou Gehrig as your favorite baseball player.
Yeah. I just, you know what? Lou Gehrig, for whatever reason, reminds me a lot of course, older times when my grandmother and grandfather were younger. And I think I've heard them talk about Gehrig. I don't know if they ever got to see him play, or if they just knew of him because they were, alive at that time when he was playing. So I remember hearing some of the stories, and it just reminded me of them and a simpler time, so to speak. But once again, just a hard-nosed, gritty baseball player. The guy was known as the Iron Horse because of the streak for how long, and just backed it up with his everyday play. The guy, to me, was just an incredible baseball player. My personal favorite.
Yeah, and I know he is. And we're here with the Jeffy Awards here on Jeff's birthday. And Jeff just gave you his not only favorite baseball player, but who we both think is probably the best baseball player of all time. Jeff, I agree with you on a lot of stuff. I'm going to disagree. I can't disagree. My favorite baseball player is a little different. It's Don Mattingly. I can't find my Don Mattingly picture, but to me, my favorite baseball player, I grew up in the 80s for the most part. The 70s, I loved Dermot Munson, and I loved Willie Randolph and Greg Nettles, so many players, but the 80s, Don Mattingly was my guy. And bar none, to me, was the best player that I got to watch in that time frame. And Don Mattingly is my guy. So that's my personal favorite.
Don Mattingly, from what I remember, Don Mattingly, he hit with power, but
Mhm.
really wasn't a power hitter, from what I remember. He wasn't leading the league.
35, I think, was his most home runs in a season. So I would say, yeah.
Well, I mean, he wasn't always out in front of the home run lead. I remember him being more of an average guy.
Yep, absolutely.
Maybe doubles more so than home runs. But I don't know. It's hard to argue with that, man. Very good choice. A great player.
Yeah.
But let's move on. Let's get your relief pitcher. Who is your relief?
My relief pitcher again. I can't seem to find the photo, but my relief pitcher is Mariano Rivera. I mean, to me, bar none, the greatest reliever of all time. A guy who was Mr. Clutch, Mr. Consistency. A guy who just embodied the game of baseball, and right down to the last year was easily the best reliever of all time. So my reliever is the one and only Mariano Rivera.
I went in a completely different direction for a lot of different reasons. To me, was my favorite reliever, Rich Gossage.
One of the most intimidating.
Yeah, intimidating when he was up on the mound, and he would just stare down at the batter. But knowing that he didn't come into the ninth inning with 2 outs to get a save, he came in and pitched sometimes 2+ innings to get those saves. And listen, a guy threw 100 miles an hour. The guy was throwing fucking BBs back in the day. And I'm one of the greatest memories I ever had. Not even a great memory, but I remember it so vividly. Was the day that he almost took Ron Say's head off in the World Series. If you remember that.
Yes, sure. Yeah.
Unbelievable. I think Ron Say still has a dent on the back of his head from the ball hit. But
yeah.
God, I wouldn't even want to think about this being up to bat and then all of a sudden just getting hit in the head with something like that, man. Oh my God. Holy shit.
Yeah, great. Listen, one of those guys that when you went up there, you didn't dig in. So Goose is Hall of Famer in his own right, and one of the best relievers I ever got to watch. So a good pick by you.
Yeah. All right. So next we got our starter or all-time starter, who you could say who you would want as your starter. I'm curious to see who you picked.
There was 2 categories that were really tough for me, Jeff. This one. And goalie, and I'm obviously not going to get into that one yet, but this was tough for me because I couldn't think of one. I love watching Andy Pettitte pitch. I've guys like Greg Maddux, so many great pitchers that out there. Roger Clemens, love watching Roger Clemens pitch, but the one guy I would say that was it for me. Guy I just every time he pitched, I wanted to see it was Ron Guidry. I loved the Gator, 77, 78. Especially 78. The guy who basically invented the 2-strike clapping, and just amazing pitcher. I love the Gator, and a funny guy. I read his book. Just a funny character. So to me, Ron Guidry was my guy.
Ron Guidry, of course, he was great. Had that magical season at 78, man, 25-3, and the under 2 ERA from what I remember, and just an unbelievable. I think he had like 13 complete games or something like that, or 13 shutouts.
Just
something. It was unbelievable, the numbers he put up. But I went a little bit more modern day, and I got to say, Randy Johnson. Look at this guy, 6'10". By the time he jumped off the mound, what was he, like 3 feet away from home plate? Look at the size of him.
Yeah,
not a physically imposing player with strength, but just physically imposing because of all of that lankiness and a competitor. And I think that when he was on the Yankees for a short time, he didn't get his due.
No,
with the Yankees.
No, definitely not.
But I would, if I was drafting or going after a pitcher, I would definitely consider having him as my number 1 starter.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, you can do a lot. You can do a lot worse than getting Randy Johnson on your team. And you're right, a physically imposing guy from the sense of 6'10", and when he finished, you felt like he was right on top of the guy. It's just an amazing guy. Unfortunately, I don't believe he ever won a championship, but
Yes, he did with Arizona, I believe.
Oh, you're right. That's right. I forgot about that. That's right.
Right.
You're 100% great call, Jeff. I forgot about that. So a great career, Hall of Famer, and a big heavy metal guy, a big photographer. He's always at Heavy Metal Concerts taking pictures. So a guy I've tried to get on the show 100 times.
Listen, imagine this real quick. I know we got to move it along and everything, but just imagine real quick starting Randy Johnson and then finishing off with Rich Gossage and then maybe putting a cherry on the sundae and having to face Mariano Rivera, having Rich Gossage as your short guy.
Wow.
And, your long reliever and Mariano is your closer. Could you imagine facing them three in a game?
No, I don't think you can. That's a tough one. Wow. Yeah, that is a really that is a tough one. Yeah, listen, what could you say? That's just great stuff right there.
Tom, could you start off the next category? I got to run in the next room real quick.
Sure, go ahead. And the next category for me is an easy one. We went to favorite basketball players, and while I certainly am a big Nick fan, and Patrick Ewing's my years and all that, my favorite Nick of all time, my favorite basketball player is Bernard King. I mean, Bernard King for 2 or 3 years, let's say from 82 through 85, was about as dominant a scorer in this league as there ever was. A guy who could just light it up, was unstoppable against certain teams. I mean, he just dominated some playoff series. And I learned as a short, chubby white kid, I spent many hours in a park learning to shoot a turnaround jumper. And my image of Bernard King will always be that's a Detroit Pistons. I think it was 84. Both hands were taped, 2 fingers each, kind of like this. Let's see if I can show that. Like that. The fingers were taped on both hands from getting them jammed and knocked around. And the guy went out was scoring 30, 40 points a night. Was unstoppable. So to me, the best, my favorite basketball player of all time is Bernard King.
I'm back.
Okay, so Jeff, I said Bernard King was my guy. I'm going to give you a chance now to give up and put your guy in there. And who is your favorite basketball player?
Well, how did you know? You read my mind.
Jeff, sometimes
I have a folder of all my pictures.
Somebody must have whispered in my ear this week.
Well, there you go. It is Patrick Ewing, man. To me, I don't think there was anybody you could have rooted harder for. A basketball player. If you weren't a Michael Jordan fan, then Patrick Ewing. Year after year after year, the Knicks fielded some great teams in the late 80s, early 90s when they were playing against Michael Jordan. And every year, the road to the NBA Finals went through Chicago one way or another for the fucking.
Yeah.
And there was just no way that he was able to do it all himself. Great player. A lot of great memories for New York and everything else. And he just wasn't able to bring it to the next level.
Nope.
I think probably the closest to a basketball god New York has seen since 73.
Yeah, probably right. Yeah.
It's a shame. I think he made it to one NBA championship game, 2. He went twice.
Yeah, he went 94. They lost to Houston. In 99, he didn't play the entire series. I'm not sure how much he played against San Antonio, but they lost to San Antonio in 99.
The Knicks?
Yeah, they lost to the San Antonio Spurs in 1999.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Well, what do you know?
He was mostly hurt. There was a lot of Latrell Sprewell, Allen Houston, that whole crowd. They lost to Tim Duncan and the Admiral. What's his name?
David Robinson.
Yep. Yeah, they were outmatched. Yeah. So yeah, he had 2 shots at the title. Jeff just couldn't put it together. So good pick. Listen, one of my favorite plays of all time. Loved him in Georgetown all week. The MSGs had Patrick Ewing week, so I got to watch a lot of his old games. Guy came in as a defensive monster and wanted to be one of the best scoring centers I've ever seen.
Yeah. He was always up near the league leaders for scoring average and everything else. But
absolutely,
a shame that he never was able to help his team get to the next level. We just always fell short against Michael and Reggie Miller with the Pacers. One way or another, there was always somebody that was just a little bit better than Patrick.
It's very true. Just never had the second guy. Never had that next guy who could who can help him. But Jeff, let's move on to a sport on that's played on the ice. Let's do a little hockey, and let's get your all-time hockey player.
My all-time favorite hockey player was Bob Probert. Man, that is Mr.
Wrong guy. Sorry, wrong guy. Sorry, got to have the wrong pick. I apologize. Yep. Let's get. Let me just bring Bob. Yeah, but talk about Probert. Go ahead.
Bob Probert. I remember when I was first getting into hockey was around the time I was working with this guy who was heavily into hockey, and he was telling me about the Bob Probert Ty Domi fights at the time, and I remember vaguely that coming on the TV, and then there they are speaking to the two of them. Bob Probert playing for the Red Wings. He was just unbelievable. A good fighter, a solid hockey player, a complete animal. He also liked a lot of different substances off the ice, caught him, gave him some trouble there. And, he ended up dying prematurely. But one of the greatest videos that I ever saw was the NHL commissioner at the time, I guess it was Gary Bettman still, brought these two young men into the league office and told them that if they fought, they would be suspended. So they were thrown out there to start the game off. And Probert said to Domi, he says, "Come on, let's do this." And Ty Domi was like, didn't you hear him this morning at the meeting? Well, we're going to get suspended. And he's like, it doesn't matter. We're going to do it anyway. So let's just get it done. Let's do it. And Ty Domi was like, yeah, but I'm on a rookie deal here. And Bob Probert didn't want to hear nothing. He was just like, listen, it's going to happen. That's all there is to it. So they had the tail of the tape and everything else for that fight. I'll never forget that in the newspaper, the Daily News. But Bob Probert, man, unfortunately, he's no longer with us. But a great player, great fighter, and a decent scorer.
Not a bad hockey player for a guy who was basically a goon. He was one of the better ones as a player. So I was a big fan. I actually had his jersey. When I played street hockey. I wore my Bob Probert jersey. So Bob Probert was one of my favorite players. Not my favorite player, but one of my favorite players. I could not find a picture of my favorite hockey player. But that's an easy one for me. A guy by the name of Dave Maloney played for the New York Rangers in the 70s. Captain of the Rangers at a very young age. Now is an announcer for the Rangers, has been for years. So Dave Maloney wore 26, so did I. And I was a big fan of the Maloney brothers, Dave and Don. But Dave Maloney was by far my favorite hockey player growing up. And I could have put Nick Vitillo in there. I could have put Mark Messier in there. There's plenty of guys I could have thrown in there. Brian Leach. But I went with the one and only Dave Maloney. So, Jeff, that's my favorite hockey player of all time. Let's talk about your all-time hockey player.
Well, all-time great, who I think is an all-time great. Personally, I had to go with Mark Messier. The guy, just unbelievable player. Did it all, was scoring, tough, hard-nosed, led by example. Basically, anything you could ask a hockey player to do, this man did. Brought a championship to the New York Rangers after going 54 years with nothing. It looks like they're going another 54 or they get another one, but that's okay. I think that no matter if they won 10 in a row, nobody's ever going to forget Mark Messier and probably the second greatest guarantee in New York sports.
Definitely the second most famous one. I'm not sure if it was. Here's the thing I liked about it. And listen, iconic and an incredible W. Name it, no doubt, probably the most famous guarantee of all time. But the reason I like Messier and Messier's was maybe a little bit better. The guy went out there and scored a hat trick to win the game after he said, he guaranteed the victory. So, Joe Willie didn't exactly play the greatest football game in the world, even though he was MVP of that game. It was an okay performance. Mark Messier.
Joe Namath sucked his quarterback, man. He played the greatest game he ever played in Super Bowl III. That's all there is to it, man.
Yeah. So, but Mark Messier, to me, I could have easily left it. I wanted to go different because I like to have a little variety. But Mark Messier is by far the greatest captain I've ever seen, and one of those guys. He was tough, could score goals, play defense, kill penalties. power play, probably one of the greatest all-around hockey players of all time. So great pick by you. I did go with a teammate of Mr. Messier as my all-time great, and it was the reason I did, Jeff, was because here's the thing for me. I went with my man. Let me get him up on the screen for you. And I wanted to go. I went with Wayne Gretzky because, well, one, you were picking Messier already, and we had already had a couple of guys, at least one that we kind of combined on. But Messier to me was so different in the fact that he scored like nobody else did in that era. I mean, he took scoring 50 goals and put it in his pocket, was scoring 50 goals in 50 games. Nobody was doing that kind of stuff. And Wayne Gretzky easily was the best scorer I've ever seen. I know, people are breaking records, but he did it at a time when guys just did not skate like that, did not score like that. So to me,
he didn't break records, Gretzky. He fucking shattered them.
Yeah.
You don't put up numbers like Wayne Gretzky. I mean, the only other person that came close in a single season to any kind of numbers like that was Mario Lemieux.
Correct, yeah.
And even Lemieux wasn't all that close.
No.
God, I mean, come on. The guy with the things that the guy did with the puck were unbelievable. And did it for years.
Oh, yeah.
And up until his last NHL game, if he had the puck, he had the attention of all the other guys on the ice because you just didn't
100%.
know what he was going to do next.
100%.
Guy was an assist machine, a goal scoring machine.
Yep.
The second place all time is Jaromir Jagr, and that's only because he played about 73 different fucking seasons with 900 different teams.
Yeah, he's 46, 47, and he's still trying to play hockey this year if they could. But yeah, I mean, listen, this we're going to move it along. But Wayne Gretzky was easily for me the best hockey player I ever saw. That wasn't Mark Messier. So I love watching Wayne Gretzky. It's just scoring a goal, moving a puck, doing stuff that nobody did. There it is, Wayne Gretzky. Jeff, let's move on to your favorite goalie, which I thought was a very interesting topic. I didn't expect you to pull that one out of your hat. For some reason, because goalies kind of get overlooked.
Well, the reason my pick was Grant Fuhr with the Edmonton Oilers. He was a bit of a journeyman player. He bopped around the league for quite some time here and there, but he was also the last goalie involved with a dynasty.
Yeah,
wow. And I'm talking 4 years straight with the Edmonton Oilers. I was thinking Martin Brodeur.
Yeah.
The guy came into the league and was basically a great goalie from day one till the day he left. Then I was thinking, what about Chris Osgood from the Red Wings, another great player at the time. Dominic Hasek, another great goalie that was always somewhere sniffing around the NHL finals. And then I was even thinking Patrick Waugh. But Patrick Waugh and the Canadians, Patrick Waugh had just as much success with the Colorado Avalanche as he did with Canadians, but it just not on the same level as Grant Fuhr. 4 years in a row, he was part of a dynasty. So I just had to go with Grant Fuhr.
No, it's a good pick, Jeff. Great goalie. Had a little bit of a tandem with what's his name? Andy Moog, but a great player in his own right. Jeff, I went, mine was more about nostalgia. I couldn't really come up with a guy, but I wound up coming up with JD, John Davidson, back now as a longtime Ranger announcer, left to become a general manager, had some success all over the league, and now he's back as the Rangers president. But back in '79, JD was unstoppable. He just was an amazing goalie. He led the Rangers to the Stanley Cup, where they lost 4-1 to Montreal. But one of my best childhood memories. So to me, I couldn't really come up with a guy I could say was my favorite goalie. I went with JD. Easily my favorite goalie.
I want you to look at that picture now, real quick, okay? I'm being dead serious. And now, if you can, please go back to the picture of Grant Fuhr.
I can do that. Hold on a second. Let's get rid of JD. And let's bring up, where's Grant Fuhr's picture? There it is. And let's share him in there again. Go ahead.
Okay. Now, just a few years later, okay, look how much more squared off Grant Fuhr is and how much more protection Grant Fuhr was using Just
Yeah.
a few years later.
This is probably 5 or 6 years later.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
If you could go back to that John Davidson picture and real quick, you could just he just looks like a regular hockey player that just put on a goalie's mask. He's got hair sticking out the side of the goalie mask. He looks like it's almost like that mask has a face. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
not wearing much in the way of protection. And to think that, of course, they were wearing even less protection as you went earlier on in earlier seasons. But, just up against some of the talent that he faced, Guy LaFleur, Phil Esposito over the course of the years,
Sure.
and the shots that he must have taken,
Yeah.
how tough these goalies had to be back in that era in the 70s and 60s, early 80s.
Yeah.
Punishment that they used to take, man. Unbelievable that this guy's still walking upright.
Absolutely. Jeff, let's move on to our favorite sport, and let's get your pick for your offensive player, all-time favorite, all-time great offensive player.
I got to go with Peyton Manning. All right. And it kind of pains me to go with Peyton Manning only because there was nothing worse than watching the Colts or Denver and hearing him say Omaha 75 times a game. It used to drive me nuts. But was another guy that on any given play could bring his team in for a score or to put up a huge gain of yards. Probably one of the best football minds to ever step on a field during his time in the NFL. I find it hard to find a better offensive player than Peyton Manning.
Jeff, you're 100% right, but I did find a guy I think might be. He's also a Peyton, but he's just a different Peyton, and he is. Let's see if I get him up here on the screen quick. He is Walter Payton, and listen. Obviously, both players are great players. My thing about Walter Payton, he was one of the last guys I would say was a truly great all-around running back. Hall of Famer. I mean, the guy was a tremendous blocker, a great runner. He led left to left, having the record by a mile and a half, and a great guy catching out of the backfield, return kicks and punts, and actually was an emergency quarterback. So to me, yes, easily, Peyton Manning may be the greatest quarterback from a physical standpoint, from a physical quarterback standpoint. Just a lot of fun to watch the guy play chess on a football field. But Walter Payton to me is a top 2 or 3 players of all time. Top 2 or 3. And easily, I would say I think the best all-around offensive player ever to play the game.
Oh, hard to disagree with that, man. The guy, you're right, held a series of records that unfortunately have since been eclipsed by other players, but definitely a great player. You can't say anything wrong about Walter Payton. Great player. They still have an award that they give out named after Walter Payton year
Man of the year. The man of the year. Yep, definitely. So now, Jeff, this one is going to be a quick, I don't know about quick, the defensive player all time and the all-time great player of all time. Seems to be we both have the same player.
All right, so let's combine these categories. Defensive player and all-time great would have to be Lawrence Taylor. For both of us, evidently. It's a New York born, not New York born, but New York bred, and Blade went out there, represented his team in 2 Super Bowls. The guy kept offensive coordinators up at night trying to figure out what they were going to do to stop him. And the guy that ended Joe Theismann's career, and just an unbelievable talent. I don't know if there has been another linebacker on that level since he left the game. I don't know.
Yeah, guys, Hard Rocket Sports doing the Jeffy Awards here on the July 9th show. Jeff's birthday tomorrow. We're celebrating it tonight with the Jeffy Awards. So make sure you check us out, and you can catch this show. You can go to our YouTube channel to catch anything you might have missed, and we got plenty of stuff. Go to hardrocketsports.com. Jeff, here's the thing. To me, LT's the greatest football player I've ever seen because the guy did things nobody could do. all of a sudden there was 75 different LT clones, Ricky Jackson from the Saints, Andre Tippett, Derek Brooks, guys all of a sudden was 6'5" and 250 playing linebacker. It was a whole different game. Carl Banks, they were all LT clones. And this is a guy who, you're right, Joe Gibbs changed the entire way people played offense. H-backs were created just to deal with Lawrence Taylor. To me, the greatest football player I've ever seen, a guy who could just do anything he ever wanted to do. So he's my favorite defensive guy, and he's my all-time great. That's just, to me, it starts and ends with Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah, but we have one more football category to go, which is favorite player.
Correct.
And I'm going to let you go first on this one, because
Well,
I'm going to have you overshadow my man.
Yeah, here's the thing for me, and I'm going to get him up on the screen right now. This was easy. I mean, here's a guy. I actually talked to his son this week because I'm trying to get him on the show. I've been dying to get this guy on the show, and it's Rob Carpenter. I mean, I don't know how else to say. I mean, most people tell you who. Rob Carpenter came to was I think a first round draft pick by the Houston Oilers in the 78, I think it was 77, blocked for Earl Campbell, and came to the Giants in 1980. And was just a guy I love to watch play football. Rob Carpenter could catch, block, run, could do it all, and easily just a guy that I just could not watch. And like I said, I talked to his son this week to try to get him on the show with us. He's a teacher and a football coach in Ohio, and I'm dying to get this guy on the show. But to me, there it is. My favorite football player of all time is Rob Carpenter, number 26.
Well, listen, it just goes to show that each one of us picked our favorite with our heart, and
Right.
definitely not with talent.
No.
And what I mean by that is that we didn't pick, somebody that's number one in the stats of their position or something of that nature, because that would have been easy. So we each, I think, did the right thing by ourselves. We stayed true to that. But my favorite all-time player, even though I didn't get to watch him play much, has to be number 12 for the New York Jets, Joe Namath. The only Jet quarterback to quarterback the Jets to a Super Bowl victory and to help merge the AFL with the NFL. And that iconic number one as he's going off the field as they won the Super Bowl. Just great. Like, he must have been leading the life that everybody wanted to lead at that time. Playing football, playing in New York, enjoying the nightlife, the women and everything else, and still being thought of today as a great football player when he actually really wasn't all that great. He was maybe mediocre at best.
I'll have to agree with you on that, Jeff. When you look at his stats and his career after that Super Bowl, I will tell you that the guy got in the Hall of Fame based on his college career, which was a good one, and the fact that he probably won the biggest game of all time. It's probably still, to me, the biggest football game of all time.
Yeah, it's hard to say any otherwise. I mean, the guy is a decent player. Was he a great? Definitely not. Would he be an elite talent? Maybe at his time he might have been, but I don't think so. I would have to say no.
I can't argue with you, Jeff. Tons of respect for the guy and his ability, but never kind of got the feeling that he was the best ever at his position, and he would not make my top 10 of quarterbacks all time. I got to be honest with you. I don't think I could put him in
I think you'd have a hard time putting him in the top 25 of all time, to tell you the truth.
Maybe that's a category that for down the road, to kind of talk about. But I have to be honest with you. I don't see myself putting him in that category, to be honest. So
no,
but for being iconic alone, Jeff, you got to put him in there. So. Jeff's favorite player of all time. He's easily number two. Tell you the truth, I would have thought you would have said Joe Klecko. That was going to be my thought process when you were doing that, but you went Joe Willie, so you can't argue it.
Joe Klecko was a hard-nosed type of player, but he was so overshadowed at the time by Mark Gastineau and everything that Mark Gastineau did on and off the field, it was almost hard to give Joe Klecko his due. You know what I mean? Like there's Gastineau, the flashy guy, getting all of the, dating the actresses and, being on the front page of the paper as well as the back page. And there would be Joe Klecko's name, one liner, and Joe Klecko had 17 sacks in this game.
Yeah.
And it was a disruptive force. But it's just two different players, and unfortunately, you know what? Flashy wins over fucking, tired and true.
Absolutely.
So
let's switch it up a little bit, Jeff. We're going to finish up. We got a couple more things we're going to try to run through so we don't lose too much time. But we're going to take it to wrestling now. We include a wrestling and, of course, some music. And Jeff, give us your let's see. This is your all-time great wrestler.
Well, what I did is the wrestling was two categories: old timer and modern day. So old timer, I went with Jimmy Snuka, Jimmy Superfly Snuka. You look at this guy, man. Maybe compared to today's wrestlers, Triple H and The Rock, he's not going to be the biggest, but look at the size of this guy and what he was doing back then in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah,
he was a big boy. Plus, he was a high flyer. You know what I mean? And he never won a championship in the WWF. Matter of fact, I don't think he ever won a championship at all in his career. But maybe one of the most beloved wrestlers of all time.
Absolutely.
The only championship that he might have won was, for offing that chick that he was going out with. That may be it.
Wow. Okay.
Best murderer in the WWF. I don't know.
But listen, Snuka was the first high flyer that I remember, guy who had lived on the top rope. I mean, you just didn't see that back in the day, and not to the extent that he would climb up there and just kind of stand there and
Get
just
that look.
Yeah, and just not jump out, but jump up in the air, like just be flying. Jimmy Superfly Snuka was the first guy to make me pay attention to that end of the wrestling, and then from there, so many high flyers later on, but Snuka to me was the first one, and a great pick by you for old time, kind of the old time guy. I went a little different. I went real old school on my pick. A guy that
who you went with, man. I'm not really curious to see.
Let me see if I get him on the screen here. Let's see. Hold on a second. To me, a guy that I just loved was Bruno Sammartino. Bruno was one of those guys. He was a champ, but from that golden age of technical wrestling and a great announcer and just a fun guy to watch growing up. He was that kind of guy right before Bob Backlund and then before the Hulkster. So to me, easily to me the old school all time wrestler guy, held the belt for a ton of years. Bruno Sammartino.
Yeah, listen, you really can't go wrong with that.
Nope.
You definitely went a lot old school. Way older in school, actually. I was thinking of so many different ones. I was like, Jefferson Morocco, the Grand Wizard, Andre. There was so many of them. You couldn't have gone wrong with any of them. SD Jones.
No, this again,
whole bunch of different ones.
Absolutely. Listen, 100%. There's nothing you couldn't go wrong with any of those guys, and it was a pleasure to kind of do that research. But Jeff, you went a little different, a little more modern with your modern day guy, and I want you to announce who that is.
Well, I had to go with the Undertaker, Mark Calloway. You think of the Undertaker, 30 plus years in the WWE. The guy is probably one of the most respected locker room voices. He's seriously, heavily into wrestling, like all the hidden codes and everything else, and the way that things were done backstage. This isn't somebody that just went out to the ring, wrestled, and turned around, took a shower, and left. This guy lived wrestling. If you read the stories and everything else, tremendous talent. Was able to take a gimmick, a character from 30 years ago, and is still using that character today.
Yeah. Stay true to that character, Jeff, for a very long time.
Yep. Oh yeah. Protected that character.
Yeah, still doing it. A lot of guys that have been around that long, they've morphed into somebody else and done something different. And he managed to stick it out there for a very long time. I've never been the biggest fan of the Undertaker. I never kind of got it. But guy's been iconic. I mean, it's got to be 25 years he's out there doing it.
30 years, dude. It started in 1991 or 1990. And
Yeah.
you're talking about a dude 6'10", 330 pounds.
Yeah.
Another one that walks across the ropes. And I remember seeing him on a Saturday afternoon. There used to be wrestling that was on at like 4:30 on in the afternoon. It was like WCW. And that was the first time that I caught a glimpse of the Undertaker. And it was Mark Calloway. And then all of a sudden he came on oh man, what the fuck was it? It was the Thanksgiving one, Survivor Series.
Yep.
And Ted DiBiase brought him out, and I was like, holy shit, look at this. He's in the WWF. I remember this guy from watching him on Saturdays. And it was just, cool to see his career develop. And other than Ric Flair, who else?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, is there anybody else? Maybe Triple H? I don't know.
It's a good question. Yeah, it's a good question, but a great pick. Not surprising from Jeff because, I know we kind of had to go modern, but I could not come up with a modern guy that I could put in the category. Jericho I liked, and then you had The Rock, and you had a bunch of those guys, Steve Austin. So I didn't kind of stick with the category, Jeff, but I went with a guy. I had to go with the Macho Man, and I kind of took guys who were in the 80s and 90s, and while I was never the hugest fan, this was a guy who was not only a great technical wrestler, but one of the best interview guys of all time. And think about it. I mean, who did better interview promos? Maybe Roddy Piper, but nobody did the voice, the clothes. The Macho Man. He ate Slim Jims. He was bone sore on Spider-Man movies at the end of his life. Lived on Staten Island. To me, the Macho Man was the guy.
Listen, man, if you were to fucking spoon feed somebody as much blow as he probably did in his lifetime,
But just think about it. I mean, the guy was a great, and any guy who lost his girl to George the Animal Steel just kind of, has to be iconic in my book.
Yeah.
Oh,
listen, it is what it is.
Absolutely.
Can't go wrong with everything you said about him. I mean, just a great talent.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, another one in the wrestling world that was lost too soon.
Yeah.
Way too soon.
Yeah, there's not many of them left. Believe me, I've done some searches, and out of the guys that we grew up watching, there ain't a ton of them left. So, but
it's unbelievable when you think of the amount of these guys that are gone. Just like, wow.
Yep. Again, so many guys, so many people, Michael Bofuco and Mike Gambale, and so many people saying happy birthday to Jeff tonight. And thanks for everybody tuning in and listening and watching Jeff and I do our thing here in the Jeffy Awards. So thanks to everybody who's out there doing their thing. And we got three more categories in the music end of it. So we're going to get to that now. Jeff, you want yours first? You want to make me go first? How do you want to handle this one?
I'll do my first. I got an influential band. I couldn't think of one band that was influential enough. I mean, I could, but I'm biased towards Black Sabbath. So I'm sure everybody's tired of hearing me say that. But I went with the new wave of British heavy metal as my most influential band because Sabbath is kind of the forefront of that. And when you got Maiden and Priest and a whole bunch of different bands that came through with the new wave of British heavy metal, Angel Witch, Def Leppard, UFO, Rainbow, Motorhead, a lot of different music that came out around the same time.
Yep.
Judas Priest.
Sure.
And helped shape the direction of metal and everything. And kind of like directed bands to certain different categories. There was a little something of everything there. Regular metal, a little bit of hair metal with Def Leppard, and some heavier stuff with Motorhead. Just some great times, great music. I don't think music would have been the same. What we listened to the same without those British bands. But curious to see who you got now.
Well, I kind of went a different way than you did, Jeff, because I'm in the same category as you. Of course, I love I love the metal and Maidens, that whole era of bands. But when I thought of the most influential band of all time, I went a different route, and I went with the Beatles. And here's the thing: 50 years after they broke up, they're still probably considered the greatest band of all time. They spent more time off, not being a band than they were. And their music's still out there, and they've influenced an entire new generation of musicians and people. And to me, it was an easy one. The Beatles, by far, to me, are the most influential band of all time.
Well, definitely not a wrong choice.
No,
but everybody says that about the Beatles. That's why I couldn't myself pick the Beatles. But yeah, got to agree with what you said.
Yeah, I love your choice. I think it was a great thing because yes, what, it wasn't one band in that mix of the new wave of British heavy metal. There was all that whole genre. And bands got dropped. Bands like Def Leppard got drawn into it. They weren't a metal band, but you came from England in the '80s and you played harder music. You were part of the new wave of British heavy metal that had bands like Samson and so many other bands that you named. And I think that your pick was great. But Jeff, let's get to your favorite bands of all time. I think this is anybody who knows Jeff and kind of has half a clue knows pretty much who Jeff's favorite band of all time is.
Got to go with fucking Black Sabbath on this one, man. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah,
what to be said about them, man. Can't say anything. Look at that. It just oozes everything that a band from the 70s has got, man. Ugliness, drug use. You could smell how dirty they look, especially Bill Ward looks like he escaped from a mental ward. And just knowing that the music that they recorded and put out is just inspired countless musicians. Countless musicians.
Listen, a dark time, to think, here's the thing. When you're iconic enough, and I love the Beatles, I like the Beatles, but the Beatles didn't inspire a new type of music. They
invent a genre of music.
Right. Here's a band that invented an entire genre of music. And to me, I could have easily went that way for influential bands. I didn't, but while I'm not the Sabbath fan you are, I get the fact of who these guys were. I mean, you're talking about one of the most iconic singers and bass players and guitar players. Obviously, Tony Iommi wrote some of the greatest riffs of all time. What these guys have done should never be overshadowed by anybody. I don't want to hear about Metallica. I don't hear about anything. These guys, when it comes to metal, that's the guy. This is the band.
Yep.
So, yeah. And listen, we saw them how long ago? 4 years ago? 5? Yeah, 4 years ago now, right?
Yeah, 4 years ago at this point.
And, again, never saw them live before other than that time, Jeff. But I will tell you, if they sounded any better before that, my God, they would have to be the greatest band of all time, because watching them that night was eye opening, because even Ozzy sounded good. I had heard Ozzy 10 years before that live, but the music from those two guys, amazing.
Let me tell you something. I was lucky enough to go see Heaven and Hell, which was basically Black Sabbath with Ronnie James Dio and Vinny Appice at Radio City Music Hall. And when I went, I remember Joe Gansas telling me, I went with Joe Gansas and some other friends, and he was like, we could go see Black Sabbath. Do you want to go see Black Sabbath? So here I am thinking the original Sabbath, and I'm like, yeah, of course, I want to go see that. So we went there, and as soon as we got there, I should look at the ticket, and it says Heaven and Hell. I'm like, who the fuck is Heaven and Hell? And I'm like, oh, no. I'm like, it's not that I don't want to see them, but I was so psyched to see the original Sabbath. You know what I mean? And Heaven and Hell put on a great show. Absolutely great show. But as great as they were not the original Sabbath, man. And the original Sabbath, anytime that I saw them, were just unfucking believable.
Yeah, the one thing I'll say about Heaven and Hell, I to a certain extent, I think the music, I don't know about the music. How do I say? I think there's a definite different vibe from Heaven and Hell and Black Sabbath, even though you still got Geezer and Tony. Ronnie singing changed the vibe of Sabbath for me.
Definitely different
You
type
know?
of band. Definitely different band.
Yeah. So I mean, while you still had two guys who were heavily writing the music and all that stuff. Yes, the Heaven and Hell was different than Sabbath. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I love a lot of that. I probably like more from that era of Sabbath than I do the original Sabbath. I'm not, some great stuff on both ends, but a different band when you get to Heaven and Hell. But I kind of went different. But I went with my favorite band of all time, obviously, and anybody who knows me knows that Iron Maiden is by far my favorite band. It's Maiden than anybody else. And to this day, I still go to concerts and see them. And I still think their music holds up. And I still think in concert they're great. And to me, I think the one thing I'll say about them, take Sabbath out of the mix, the second greatest metal band, because to me, their music still holds up live in concert. And they're still doing it with pretty much the same band that they've been doing it for 35 years, so to me, Maiden by far is my favorite band of all time, easily.
You can't go wrong with that. I mean, some great stuff they put out over the years. There's nothing wrong with them at all.
No. Again, just these are our personal favorites. Jeff, now we're going to end it the way we kind of started it, because I think we're both going to agree on this. So this should make it go pretty easy for us. Let me get the picture up on the screen if I can. There it is. Okay, here he is. So Jeff, now it's kind of the overall most influential musician type of guy of all time, and I'm gonna let you announce it because it's basically the same pick.
Well, I remember I have it written down as most influential, most accomplished.
Yep, there it is. Okay.
So I guess we'd have to stick with that, but that is the pick right there, Paul McCartney. You think about what this man has done, is still doing.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe he's not doing it as often and everything else, but he's still out there playing and everything else. You could see 80 from where he's standing right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Started off with the Beatles, went to Paul McCartney and Wings, his solo work, his stuff with Michael Jackson. Just, God, you could just go on down the line. One of the most influential bass players. And I have to say, I was never a huge Beatles fan.
No.
Never a huge Beatles fan. And last night, just last night, I was actually sometime over the course of the day yesterday, I heard Let It Be.
Okay.
75th millionth time in my lifetime. So last night, my wife went to bed and everything, and I was like, I'm bored. I'm sitting here, and I was like, I want to try to learn how to play Let It Be. So I pretty much got the song down pat. It's not a hard song. It was rather easy. Took a few minutes. I watched a YouTube video. But as I'm playing it, I was like, you know what? I was like, it's so perfectly played. What could ever be done to it to make it better?
Right.
It's just the perfect Beatles song, and there's so many people. And I knew a guy I was friends with. Unfortunately, he died probably about 10 years ago. And he was a huge Beatles fan, and Let It Be was one of his favorite songs. And, when I hear the song, I do think about him, this guy, Terrence. A good guy, unfortunately, and somebody we all lost a lot sooner than we would have liked to have, but a great guy. But nonetheless, just great stuff, man. Great music that he's part of, man. Just unbelievable.
Well, I mean, you think of it, first off, I mean, he could have, again, another guy could have rested on his laurels just with the Beatles music alone. Then he goes on to Wings, solo. And then think of all the duet stuff he did with Michael Jackson and Stevie Wonder. And, I mean, here's a guy who just has played with, closed Live Aid and all, the concert in Madison Square Garden for 9/11. I mean, just the most influential musician of our time, and probably, in my opinion, and my opinion doesn't mean a hell of a lot, but in my opinion, the greatest musician of our generation. A guy who's just, has done it all, seen it all, and think about it. He's had Hall of Fame careers on his solo stuff with Wings and with the Beatles. I mean, how much more kind of can you get, Jeff?
Well, you're right. You're 100% right. And unfortunately, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, we all feel as though that it's a sham, because of the way that the way they do it. But it doesn't take away from that man's accomplishments.
Oh no, definitely,
Right.
100% no way.
Now, I must say, like you just said, I am not the biggest Beatles fan. I'm not like, the Beatles all the way. I'm becoming more of a Beatles fan as I'm getting older. I don't know if that's good or bad, if maybe I should have done this years ago, but, you listen to him and you just listen to the bass lines. The guy is an incredible bass player. He's just a great musician, great musician, all around great musician. You can't take anything away from him.
Nope, absolutely not. And Jeff and Tom here at Hard Rocket Sports every Thursday night, 6:30 to 9:30. So doing our Jeffy Awards here on the Big Jeff Birthday Show. I'm glad you guys have all stopped by and you're listening. And we had some fun giving you our greatest and favorites. We have one last category. We'll do this one quick. And Jeff called it the wild card category. So we have no idea. I don't know if Jeff came up with a wild card. I have a wild card, Jeff. I'm going to go first.
Okay.
I came up with one, and I'm going to take it out of the sports and music. I'm going to go outside the box because it's wild card. I can do anything I want.
Okay. And then I have one too.
And I've decided to go with a political one, Jeff. Listen. You said I could do anything I want. I could have anything my heart desires on my wild card.
Yes.
And I decided to go because politics is such a big thing in our life right now. I thought that for the hell of it, I would kind of go outside the box, and I decided that I was going to go into the wild card and make it. And I'm just trying to get my photo up on a thing before I switch over, Jeff. So don't just mind. And I went with the all-time worst mayor of all time, a guy who's the biggest dick I've ever seen. And I went with Bill de Blasio as my all-time worst mayor in the history of mayors. I don't know how far back mayors go, but just look at this jerk off back in his day. Guy eats pizza with a fork and knife. He's an Italian guy. He needs to be slapped. And to me, my wild card pick is Bill de Blasio as worst mayor of all time.
He's a fucking moron.
Yeah, it's your boss. Be careful. That's your boss.
He looks like Colin Kaepernick.
That's why I picked it. Just listen. He's a total douchebag, and it was an easy way for me to get a shot on him. Was making him my wild card pick as worst mayor of all time, Bill de Blasio. So Jeff, there's my wild card pick.
You can't argue that one, but I totally forgot about the wild card pick. But then I remembered, and I was able to come up with something. And I don't have a picture for you,
Go ahead.
but if you could show my name, I'm going to show you the second greatest musician ever.
Hold on. I can do that easily.
Not that name, the one on my picture that I have put on my picture.
Let me see. Oh yeah, I can do it. Hold on. You gotta give me half a second.
There you go.
That's your wild card.
Might as well.
Might as well as right. He's celebrating his birthday.
It's my birthday.
Yep.
I feel as though that I am an overhyped, over everything musician, but fuck it, man. Today I am the wild card, and I am not the walrus, but I am definitely the second best bass player between me and Paul McCartney, and I'll take that.
That's listen. Why not? Why not? He's the best bass player in the Hard Rocket Sports Band. I can tell you that, folks. He's easily the hardest.
The Hard Rocket Sports Band.
But he's also my friend, and he's celebrating his birthday tonight. And we're winding down the last Blog Talk Radio show ever. 6 years, 400 episodes.
How much more time do you have on Blog Talk Radio right now?
Technically, the next 4 minutes.
Okay, you have to do something.
Go ahead.
PLJ did something like this.
Go ahead.
You need to stop. You need to end the radio show as we have ended so many radio shows in the past. We might not hear it over the video show, but you have to play Preserve the Moose one last time on Blog Talk Radio, please.
Okay, so guys, we're going to wind that up down the. We're not going anywhere. We're going to stay on for a little while longer, but we're going to end the radio show. We're going to do that by saying thank you to so many people. Thanks to everybody out there. Again, thanks to my brother Jimmy Galicchio for writing the show's theme song. Thank you to let's see, Giuseppe Dante and my cousins and all the people who listened. All the people when I could have had the entire show in a phone booth. All the people who listened in a phone booth. So thank you to everybody out there. One more time, my dad who called in every single show, all the people who listened, all our guests, Jeff. We had some great guests over the last 6 years. And again, we're not going anywhere. We may be back on radio at some point, but not on Blog Talk. And thanks to Joe Gansis, our very first producer, Big Sexy Nick Marino, our second producer, and all the publicists and my beautiful wife for standing by me and letting me do the show. To everybody, Jeff's wife, and everybody who supported our show along the way. Sharon used to listen every week while she was getting her nails done. So, and big thank you, of course, to the sexy guy across the hall for me there for coming on board.
90 seconds.
Aboard a little while later. We got 90 seconds left. Yep, we're gonna play it right now. So every Hard Rock and Sports show, or just about every one of them, ended a certain way, and it'll continue. It'll be part of this show forever. But to say goodnight to the Hard Rock, to Blog Talk Radio, and the radio show that I've loved to do for 6 years, Jeff, you know how there's only one way that we can end a Hard Rock and Sports show. Do you know what that is?
Yep, that button right there in the corner, man. Go ahead. Hurry up.
And there it is.
Is that moose, And
So when you're playing, you feel like a preserved moose on stage.
Yeah.
That's correct. So, guys, to sign off. I'm going to give Jeff the last word, but for Jeff and myself and everybody here on Hard Rock and Sports, thank you for 6 great years on the radio side, and we love you all, and I can't thank you enough for supporting us. Jeff, you got the final word on the Hard Rock and Sports Blog Talk radio show.
Sad to see you go, Blog Talk, but it is what it is. I'd also like to thank you for doing all of this. Everybody else's name that you mentioned and one that you left out, which I feel as though was very important, which was the half man.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
If you will.
10 seconds.
Yep. And
thank you.
Yeah.
That's what more could be said, man. It was a lot of fun.
Absolutely, guys. You can find all the old shows on Spotify, but thank you very much. And we'll see you down the line on another radio show. But thank you to Block Talk, and we'll see you then again. So again, on the radio side, good night. And wow, it's been a great trip, Jeff.
Yes, it has, man. Sad moment in history, bittersweet, but you know that it's heading in a different direction and a little bit of a cooler direction, a little more of a modern day direction. But listen, it is what it is. You never forget your roots.
Nope. So there it is for Jeff and myself and everybody here, guys. We'll sign off as we always do. Have a great weekend and stay safe. And we'll see you on the other side. Good night. And I love you all. Thank you. All right, Jeff, that's the last of the Blog Talk Radio.
Blog Talk Radio.
And I've officially put that to bed. So listen, man, now we're on to bigger and better. And we got plenty of shows left in us, I hope. I hope that we're doing this for a very long time.
Listen, I have fun and look forward to it every night, man. I really do. I remember during the pandemic, we did a few special shows here and there. A couple years ago during the NFL, we went a couple extra show a week, just going over some games and scores and some stats. So listen, it was a lot of fun. Can't take it away from what it was. It was a lot of fun. This is more fun because it's a little bit more personable.
Yeah.
To see people and they get to see you. Has anybody said anything at all? Because I don't check Facebook that often while we're on, but I have not yet received any messages that we've broken up any marriages or anything of that nature. I guess that holds true till this moment.
Yeah, we're consistent, Jeff. We have not affected anybody's marriage. We have not caused a stir in anybody's house by our faces being on the air here. But hopefully, we'll inspire some for the future.
Is that good or bad? I don't know.
Not so sure. I'm pretty sure it's bad, but I'm not so sure. But there's a couple more things I want to get to before we end the Big Jeff birthday show. So let's hit him quick. Jeff, the cancel culture. We not to bring politics too much into this, but we got to get it in. The one thing I was pretty sure was never going to change was the Washington Redskin name. Now there are people out there who won't say. I think Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk and anybody who writes for the Daily News will never utter the word Redskin. Meanwhile, if you check the polls, Washington fans in the Indian nation themselves, most people have no interest in having any problem with the name Washington Redskins. The uniforms are iconic, even though they're disgusting. The helmets are good helmets. I love the decal, the whole bit. But now, Jeff, it's attacked, and it looks like we're going to get a different name in Washington. Should Daniel Snyder be fighting this? It looks like the NFL is pressuring him, the sponsors. Would you be disappointed if it's changed? Do you care at all?
I would be disappointed, yes. I would be disappointed if it was changed, only because at the time that this team was named, the Native American was much more prevalent in life and everything than it is now, and it was definitely not used as it was a racist term, but the team was not named in a racist way. The teams that were named after the Kansas City Chiefs, Cleveland Indians, the Atlanta Braves, the Washington Redskins, and whatever other teams were named after the Indians in their area or in honor of Indians in general.
Uh-huh.
I just can't see the point of changing that name now. You can't, whether history was good or bad, you can't erase what happened because it still happened. It's impossible to change what happened. You might as well learn from it and know it than to just turn around and say, well, we can't acknowledge this, so let's get rid of it. And because it doesn't change what happened. You know what I mean? It doesn't change what happened, who played what roles and in what acts, so to speak.
Uh-huh.
So to me, I just, I'd be highly disappointed if the Washington Redskins are called something else by the start of the NFL year. It would be disgusting.
Yeah, and again, here's the thing. If Daniel Snyder woke up tomorrow and said, "Hey, I decided I want to change the name of my team," that's his right. He wants to move the team. He wants to change the colors. But it's the pressure from people in these lily white towers who decided that the Washington Redskin, by the way, with the logo, the name was all done with the Indian, with representatives from the Indian nation. This was not meant to demean anybody. And, again, get past the Redskins. To start turning around now, you're going to take away Chiefs, Braves, Indians as team names. It's ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
It's ridiculous. And I will be disappointed, but not surprised because that's the I think everything was okay until they hit him in the pocketbook. And now you got FedEx and Pepsi and other sponsors. So I think he's going to cave. I think the NFL is pressuring him. I think they have. I think Goodell is all over him. By the way, I wrote a letter to Roger Goodell this week, which I have not heard back from him. I don't expect him to, but I wrote him. I think next week I'm going to post a letter up on the show so everybody can see what I wrote.
I think you should. I think that it was a well-written letter, and it's coming from. Got to remember something. Regardless of what anybody says, anybody thinks about what's going on, okay? Mm-hmm. Everything that's happened so far, other than the unfortunate murder, and that's still the best way to put it, of George Floyd, everything has been a knee-jerk reaction. And everything has to be okay. We have to make sure everything is okay and everybody's happy. Nobody can walk away and say, I don't like this.
Yeah.
Okay? But what are you doing? You're alienating a whole demographic of people that might have been watching a game of football for God knows how many years. Fans that have been fans of that team for years, eons.
Yeah.
And you have no problem alienating that fan base, that group.
Listen, Jeff, it's obvious that it's obvious that the NFL and a lot of sports in general, the NBA, but it's obviously that the NFL is interested in pandering to the Black Lives Matter organization, which again, I'm not going to get into tonight, but that's where we're at, and it's not about, this is nothing to do with George Floyd. This is nothing to do with making things better in the Black community or making race relations or relation with the police any better. This is strictly pandering and trying to step out in front and say, hey, we're doing something that means absolutely nothing. And nobody's affected by the fact that it's the Washington Redskins. Like, nobody for 100 years has been upset about Mount Rushmore. Now all of a sudden Mount Rushmore is no good. Nobody was offended by the flag. Now people are offended by the flag. Now all of a sudden our national anthem was no good. Listen, hopefully we step on all this and we move forward. I pray it doesn't, but if it does, Jeff, there's been some interesting names thrown out for the new Washington Redskins, the new Washington team, the Sentinels, the Hogs. The Washington Hogs is kind of a thing. I tried to come up with one all week. I couldn't. Mike Passamonte sent one out to us. The Washington Pride, with rainbow helmets. So I think that was pretty good. But Jeff, it's a sad day, and it's frustrating because I like to think of guys like us as having a lot of common sense, and there is no common sense in what's going on right now.
It's disgusting for a lot of different reasons, Tom. And the biggest reason is that, to me, it's that everything, all somebody has to do is say, this bothers me, I'm offended, and everything has to stop and it has to be taken care of. Meanwhile, all you're doing is just, it's not sugarcoating. What's the word? You're pacifying.
Correct.
A movement. Yeah. Instead of what is the point? What are you looking to do? I mean, come on. This is what you should do. This is the name of the team. We as the NFL have contacted the Washington Redskins, and we asked them if they would consider changing the name of their team. They basically told us to go fuck off. So the Washington Redskins will be playing as the Washington Redskins next year.
Yeah.
So, okay. It's not a derogatory term against African Americans. Okay. It's not a derogatory term against any other ethnic group. And the term that it was used to represent a certain ethnic group doesn't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
So what is the problem? Matter of fact, if it isn't because of casinos and tax-free cigarettes, nobody fucking gives a shit about fucking Indians anymore. So why not fucking give them, a little something, and say, you know what? Yeah, here they are, the original Native Americans. Okay, who, by the way, I would like to know. Maybe you know the answer to this question. Maybe I shouldn't even ask this question on air, but I can't ask this question on Facebook right now due to my recent incarceration there.
That's
so
true.
I will ask here.
Uh-huh.
If Native Americans are the first Americans, where did they all go? Did we chase them all that far away that they live on little reservations or in the back of these casinos that they have? Like, where are the big groups? We know where the African Americans are. We know where the Spanish Americans are. We know where the Italian Americans are, the Irish Americans, the Polish Americans, the German Americans, the Norwegian Americans. But we don't know where the Native Americans are. Where are our red-skinned friends, Tom? Please. Where
Jeff, I don't know. I know there's still a lot of communities, reservations, I guess you could call them. There's still places that they have their land, but no. Again,
where are the Apaches? Where are the Iroquois? Where are the Lenape Indians? Where are all of these different Indians? Have you yourself, in your 53 years, you're going to be 53 or you're already 50?
53. I'll be 53 this year.
You'll be 53. Have you in 53 fucking years ever met a fucking Indian yet?
Not somebody who was full-blooded or mostly, no.
No, neither have I. The only Indians I meet are the ones at 7-Eleven. Yes, we have soda in the box right over there next to the milk and the eggs. Thank you.
This is why you're not on Facebook anymore. This is exactly why.
Facebook anymore.
This is
Facebook
not
could fucking tongue punch my taint.
This
Oh,
is
I get it.
exactly why you're no longer on Facebook right now. You're in jail, guys. Yeah, Jeff's on Facebook jail if you haven't figured it out.
What
So
happened to my fucking freedom of speech? If you don't like what I say, change the channel. Who cares?
a bunch of people, John Hefka from RFL Records and Mike Passamonte and some others saying happy birthday to Jeff. And thanks to everybody for tuning in by.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Thank you for, but I didn't get no cards from you guys. I didn't get no presents, no boxes.
That's very true. So you guys still not too late. Tomorrow's the actual Jeff birthday. You can't wish him a happy birthday on Facebook.
You can. I just can't answer you, so don't think I'm being stuck up.
Yeah, so I'll throw a message out there tomorrow just to remind certain because some people don't know Jeff's in Facebook jail. Guys, if you ain't seen Jeff posting a couple times a day, he's in jail.
Well, actually, you know what, dude? There is no fun to posting anything on Facebook anymore, to tell you the truth. And the reason why is because everybody has to be the first person they know to post something political, something groundbreaking. Like today, a friend of mine sends me this picture. I know you've seen it before. It was supposedly the alleged picture of a tweet by AOC. Did you see that?
Yes. Which is I've come to learn is not true. Not a true tweet. I don't believe.
Okay, so he turns around, he sends this to me. So I said, dude, seriously, you believe this? Maybe behind the scenes, but in public, she would say this. He goes, the tweet, who knows? But I absolutely believe that this is their intention.
Yes, I agree with that, but I don't believe she ever posted it. Right.
I don't think she's stupid enough to post it. And if she is,
well, yeah, I was gonna say I disagree with that, but I think that would be insane if that was actually true and she put that out there. Yes, I would agree with you. She'd have to be completely insane, which is possible, but we'll see. But
I don't see them being that stupid. I mean, come on. Come on. I'm not saying that they're smart. I'm not saying that their way is the way to go. I'm not saying that we should, God, I hope they don't get any more power than they already have. They have too much as it is.
Yeah.
They can't seriously be fucking that stupid as to actually post this shit and then sit back. And what are they going to say? Oh, I didn't say that.
But, Jeff, think about it. Yesterday you had one of the squad, Ilhan Omar, who has been accused of marrying her brother to get into the country, who has been funneling almost $1 million into her husband's account as a political consultant, actually came out and said, we need to change America. We need to change, capitalism's no good. We want to change our political, there is a culture on that side. Not, I know we're not going to talk politics here, but this is why I said to everybody, you cannot vote for Joe Biden because you're going to give these type of people more power because Joe Biden is just a figurehead. These are the people who will be running our country for 4 years and the serious damage they could do. So people, hate Trump all you want. If you want more cancellation culture, you want more people changing what works in this country, go ahead and vote for Joe Biden. Otherwise, hold your nose, close your eyes, and vote for Donald Trump. That's what I say.
Let me ask you something, Tom.
Sure.
This is a serious question because, we do talk about this stuff once in a while because this is how it is.
Sure.
But what people need to realize, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, is that you're right. It is not Joe Biden. Joe Biden is a figurehead. Okay?
Correct.
He's a mask of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You're not voting for, please keep this in mind if you're listening at all. Don't think you're voting for Joe Biden. Okay?
Correct.
10 years ago, voting for Joe Biden, if he was running for president, might have been an alternative only because his brain is gone. It's fucking gone.
Yeah.
You listen to interviews with this guy, he's gone.
If they don't even want him to debate Donald Trump, they're trying to keep him because they don't want.
I wouldn't want him to debate anyone either.
Yeah. So, but think about it again.
He should be making his own commercials.
Yeah, it's frightening. But again, if you take out the fact that Joe Biden is completely clueless, the people pulling you don't even know who's pulling strings, and he's looking to give AOC a big voice in his administration. That's a frightening thing. Look,
first of all, he's being told.
Correct. I got you. But
he's not the one that's coming up with this idea.
No. I agree.
I'm pretty sure, and I brought this up to you once before. So evidently your dad is a Democrat. I've heard him say.
I would say.
He's not big into Trump. My parents are Democrats. You know what that means to me?
What?
it means that you're talking about, and I would imagine your mom is too. I would imagine.
Yeah, my mom. I don't know if she's a Democrat. She's just anti-Trump.
Okay, so here's four people.
Mhm.
Okay, roughly the same age, roughly grew up at the same time,
Mhm.
pretty much have the same political beliefs. You'll say because that was the party at the time.
Sure.
Okay, a Democratic president helped us win World War II and
Sure.
served 3 terms
Mhm.
as president
Yeah.
of the United States. Never before has
Mhm.
anybody been asked to serve 3 terms as the president of the United States.
Yeah.
He went up against the axis of evil.
Yeah.
And helped, with other countries helping them, of course, not just all alone, and defeated it and pushed back a lot of bad shit in World War II,
Sure.
stopped fucking the Holocaust and
Mhm.
everything else. But
Sure.
so, I mean, at one time, the Democratic Party was not what it once was.
No.
But it's something nowadays. It's just a very dangerous thing.
Yeah, I mean, just look at what you're seeing around America. I mean, think about it. You have places like Minneapolis with their Democratic mayor who was, letting people take over blocks and blocks and blocks, and now saying, "Oh, by the way, we got destroyed. Yeah, we want the federal government to give us $8 billion." Yeah, go scratch your ass. You did this to yourself. You let them ride. Same thing in New York. Your boy De Blasio. He wants $7 billion from the federal government, and Trump said, "No, you're not getting it. You're just not going to get it." And if
De Blasio, I don't understand what De Blasio. I would turn around and tell De Blasio if I was Trump, I'll give you $7 million. You want them $7 billion? I'll give you the $7 billion with a catch. You must step down as mayor of New York City, effective tomorrow morning. I'll wait for your call at 8:00.
Jeff, you're a little older than me, a couple of months, a year, whatever. We both remember the 90s in New York City and before. And here's the scary part. I always say David Dinkins was the worst mayor I've ever seen. I mean, Ed Koch was Ed Koch. I was a little young. David Dinkins is a genius compared to this guy. And the problem is you got another year and a half of this guy. You got to hope at some point that there's an uprising and either he quits or they pull him, they actually pull him out of Gracie Mansion and drag him through the streets like Mussolini, because this guy is going to kill this city, single-handedly kill this city.
Tom, this guy knows that he's on his way out.
Yeah.
He knows that he can't be voted anymore. And he knows that he's fucking going down in the history books.
Oh,
that's all there is to it. And I would question his mental status, his mental stability.
I agree.
At this point in time.
But don't you think, Jeff, at this point, he's got to be thinking, all right, I've been mayor. I'm not going to be governor of New York, but maybe I could be senator or a congressman. I agree with you. He's not going to be. What I'm saying is, what's his political goal at this point? He ran for president. What he was thinking about running for president, I don't even think his own family voted for him.
His political goal should be to make it out of New York City as mayor alive.
Yeah.
That's what his goal should be, because sooner or later, okay, let me tell you a quick story.
Sure.
I work for the park department, for those who don't know. A friend of mine works in Manhattan, and one of the areas that he's in charge of is Gracie Mansion. Okay. When it snows at Gracie Mansion, they do not give a fuck what the rest of this guy has, from downtown Battery Park up to almost Chinatown, he takes care of. Okay. Now, when we do areas in the park department, it's by community board. So he has community board 1 and 2 in Manhattan, and Gracie Mansion falls within one of those community boards. So now, when it snows, nobody gives a fuck about anything else in either one of those 2 community boards other than Gracie Mansion. Okay. They have to remove the snow. And when I say remove the snow, they don't put piles here and there. They actually have to remove the snow from the premises. Okay. Because Billy may slip and fall. So when they go to do snow, they don't do a standard path around or through the park or whatever. They got to remove all of the fucking snow, all of the snow for this guy. Okay. Now, is it important in the long run? No, probably not. Who cares, whatever. But this is what their mindset is.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking about Battery Park. There's park department property right outside the front door of the ferry. That's park department right there.
Mhm.
Okay? They don't do that. They go up to Gracie Mansion and they spend God knows how long it takes for them to take care of Gracie Mansion. You know what I mean? Then they go and hit everything else
Mm.
just so that he doesn't get his fucking shoes wet and everything else. He's a fucking peanut brain.
Yeah, I have to tell you, Jeff. I mean, how he got elected the second time, I'm not sure, but this is the kind of leadership you're seeing in Portland Democratic mayors. Again, Minneapolis, New York, Philadelphia, Atlanta, and these are the cities that got burnt, and now they're begging the federal government. They're trying to blame the federal government. Again, guys, not to get political, we'll end. You know, we're headed toward the end of the show, but if you really think that it can't get worse. Get this knucklehead Biden, and I feel bad. I gotta be honest with you. I almost feel bad for the guy because if you listen to him for 5 minutes, you just know the guy's on his way. Just not there anymore. But if you want to see more of the squad, you want more representation, go vote for Biden. That's all I can tell you. Vote for Biden and don't complain. I don't want to hear it later.
Yeah. Oh, listen, dude. It is a shame, and unfortunately, with the people nowadays. That feel as though that you know what, if you speak up, you get things done for you. There'll be change. There'll be this. There'll be that. This is what it's all about. This is how it's happening. Unfortunately, is it time for a change? Yes. Things need to change somewhat. Do things need to change as radical as that? Definitely not. Defund the police department? Are you fucking kidding me? Right now, I feel pretty confident that I could do just about anything short of murdering somebody in New York City and pretty much get away with it. Because the cops ain't going to do nothing nowadays.
No, they don't want to be. They don't want to be harassed by the mayor. The mayor's basically said they can't do anything, and then the minute they arrest anybody, the guy's on the street anyway.
Yeah. So
it's
I
ridiculous.
can't understand it. You know, when they say they cleaned up certain parts of Brooklyn and I remember 3rd Avenue, for example.
Sure.
Cookies all over 3rd Avenue and nastiness all over 3rd Avenue in Brooklyn. Now what's going to happen? It's all going to come back.
Oh, it is now, Jeff. They're killing each other, Jeff. They're shooting each other in the streets. Here's where it all started, and here's where the biggest mistake was made. You know, last summer when they were dousing the cops with water and milk, and people were kind of laughing at it. This is where it all started because people started to lose respect for the cops and realized that the cops weren't going to do anything back, that their hands were tied. And it's grown and it's grown. And now you're going to start to see cops executed. People are going to walk up and stop shooting cops, and people are killing each other. And forget about Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter does not care about black people killing black people. They only care about black people getting killed by cops. That's all they care about.
No, what they want is a police-free life. They want a police-free state. They don't care about anything. All they want to do is cause problems and cause trouble. If they were Martin Luther King, used to go out and protest peacefully for equal rights, and you never seen riots and all this other shit. Now all of this stuff that's actually happening within our city and states and other cities across the United States, disgusting. It's disgusting. And these people letting it happen. And not for nothing, I know we've discussed it a little bit, and maybe I don't understand all of the ins and outs, all of this shit, but you know what? Somebody needs to turn around, pick up the phone and say, listen, send 20,000 troops in there now. Get this taken care of. It's 10 o'clock. I want this squashed by
Yeah.
Okay? When I want to watch TV. I want to see people chained up and ready to go to jail. That's what I want to see. People are getting the cool thing about all of this is you know, the person that threw the Molotov cocktail at the cops, they were able to trace back the person that actually gave that woman the bottles. So that's somebody else that's going to pay for their stupidity. Thank God.
Correct. You hope so, Jeff, but the problem is, you know, now they got to get to, so now the cops arrest these people, but that doesn't mean that the prosecutors are actually going to prosecute these people.
Well,
and that's
dude, it's not like they broke a window on the cop car. And
I agree with you.
Get out of here. When you're talking about, you know, you could have burned countless people that way. God knows what could have happened.
Jeff, look at it this way. Until it happens to them, there's that. I think it's that mayor in Seattle. She was all for Chaz and Chop and for summer free love and this and that. And she didn't get mad until they brought the protest to her house. They actually went to her house and harassed her because she didn't do enough to the cops. And then she went, oh, these are terrorists. They got to go. So unless the people harass the Democrats, they're just going to let this stuff grow. And they're hoping that the chaos and all of that will get Trump. And again, most people who don't want to vote for Donald Trump don't want to vote because they just don't like the guy. If you look at his policies and the things he's done and the things that he's tried to do, most people would agree with it. It's just the way he delivers the message. I get people don't like, but you could see that, or you could see he's at least, Jeff, he's the poster boy for he don't give a shit. He's going to tell you what he wants, and you ain't going to take it away from him.
I could sit here and tell you and anybody else that's listening that you just described me. Okay. I personally think Donald Trump may be the biggest jerk off on the planet. I don't like the way he comes off. I don't like the way he delivers himself. I don't like the way he handles himself. I don't like anything at all about the guy. I never liked the guy from when he owned the New Jersey Generals, from when he was on The Apprentice. I've never once ever liked anything at all about Donald Trump. Nothing. Don't like the guy.
Right.
Okay? But, another thing I don't like about him is with everything that's going on, I don't like the way that he's just like, well, that's where you want it. That's, I would turn around and be like, you know what? Listen, I can't have this happening, because if that happens here, it's going to spread to here, to there. It's going to spread all over the place. Okay. You need to get this taken care of immediately. I just wish the COVID stuff, I want to let the governors decide when no. I will decide this. Okay. I just don't like the way certain things happen. I wish things happened a different way, but then again, I'm not a politician,
right?
So, but I would find it hard to say that how are people going to vote for these fucking idiots on the Democratic side? I don't understand. I do not understand it.
Yeah,
who actually says that this is a good idea? Defund the police department. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Kidding me? Did you know? In New York City right now, if you, God forbid, you had a car accident, okay, you know what you do if you have a car accident? You don't call the police anymore. You just turn around and be like, well, here's your license. I'll take yours, write down the information, and okay, thanks. And then you go on your way. Unless one of the cars is incapacitated or there's an injury, you just exchange information and go on with your day.
Yeah.
I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And then one of you is supposed to bring it to the precinct so you can file a police report. You think that's happening?
Jeff, I'm telling you, there was, I don't know if it's Philly, one of those towns, they had one of the representatives from Black Lives Matter on, and what they said, this is their demand, that they eliminate the police for 5 years and give them a chance to basically police themselves. And I said, if what I see now while you have cops is what we're looking forward to when there's no cops, good luck to you all. I moved to an island someplace and just call it a day, because I don't want to live this in what this is. What this is. And one thing, Jeff, on the Donald Trump thing, as president, there's a lot of things he can't do when it comes to the states. The governors are basically the be end all. He'd have to kind of like really almost go to war to be able to get to do things he wants to do. But I get your point. You do want to see him step up and kind of squash these people.
At certain times, we've seen him and other presidents in the past sign what they call executive orders.
Yes.
Okay. Guess what? Maybe sometimes instead of worrying about what doctor somebody's going to go see, I really don't give a fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to make an executive order or something and just say, like, listen, I need to grasp control of this before this happens. There's a lot of reasons why too. Okay.
Sure.
He is going to be known as the president during a pandemic. He's going to be known as the president during all of this racial strife.
Yep.
All of this shit that's going on during the crash of the economy, the rise of the economy, the crash of the economy. They're going to find a way to pin all of the bad stuff as well as all of the good stuff on him. Okay. In a few months, he's going to be facing off against Biden. Now, whether it's Biden or somebody else, it doesn't matter. Okay. The election is going to happen. and he needs to step up and show that he's doing the right thing, or else he's not going to be here after January 20th. It's not going to be here.
No,
And
I
it's
listen.
a
I agree.
very long 4 years.
I agree with you. I honestly believe that he's going to win. I think there's more people now who may not say that they want to vote for him, but I think a lot of people are going to vote for him because, listen, if you're looking around, if you're have half a brain, you're not buying into the Joe Biden thing, and you're not, and what you don't want is what you're seeing in all these major cities who are where you go to Chicago, they're killing people in record numbers.
Listen, I'm sure they are,
New York
but you know something? It's not so much that Donald Trump isn't showing what he could do to fix the situation, because you're telling me that his hands are tied by governors.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
You should be doing whatever it is, enact whatever it is you got to enact, write something, whatever it is you got to do to get it back. But people are going to turn around and say the minorities are going to come out now and vote. Okay, all of this Black Lives Matters that are going up all over the place. I was in a store today where somebody in the store, their name tag said BLM-S. Okay, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
That's what's going to catch people's eyes.
Yeah.
You're going to say, well, look at, we're being heard, we're being recognized, we're being appeased, we're being pacified.
Yeah, I think the majority of middle class, and I think most people, black, white, or other, see through all of that. Yeah, you're gonna have your hardcore. Listen to me tell you, Jeff. Most of the people who are Black Lives Matter are young, pasty white kids yelling in their basement, "Mom, meatloaf," because that's
I
who.
understand that, but whether they're yelling for meatloaf or not, it doesn't matter.
But even they don't want to vote for Biden. Even they don't want to vote for Joe Biden because
vote for.
Again, what's going to happen is you're going to get a lot of them write-ins. A lot of them are going to not vote because they won't vote for either one. I think Trump's going to win. It might be closer than I want it to be, but I just don't think most people in this country want Biden and the AOCs of the world to run and the like of them to run this country.
Well,
and I think that's going to scare people out.
Unless you have a third candidate under wraps that's going to come out of nowhere and blow people's socks off.
Yeah.
One of those two are going to win.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And if you get the people that want to turn around and write in candidates and not vote and everything else, it's going to hurt one of those two parties.
Biden. But here's the thing. If that's the case, Biden's good. See, Trump's got his supporters and they're not going anywhere. Biden's got no supporters. He just has the anti-Trump people.
And that's enough.
It might be, it might not be. Let's put it this way, Jeff. He beat Hillary pretty easily. Now, again, are there more people out there than that didn't vote at all last time? I don't know about that. I'm not so sure.
4 years ago, when he was running for president, okay, there was racial strife. And
sure, absolutely. More of it, actually.
Not like it is now.
Well, again,
now not defunded police departments.
No, I got that, but that's
the other stuff, not riots.
But that's what's helping him, Jeff, to defund the police department, abolish. That's actually helping him because even if you're a maniac and you hate Trump, you go, I'm not voting for that. Biden's out there saying, we're going to defund the police department. I mean, that's most normal people are not going to vote for that. They're just not going. Even if they hate Trump, at least they know they're going to be safe.
You like to think, Tom.
That's
you like to think because now
absolutely.
Here comes every cowboy's dream. Okay, I got a gun. Now I get to load it up and carry it around to protect my house. Just waiting for somebody to walk through. Matter of fact, a cousin of mine, I'm not going to turn around and say who they were, changed their profile name.
Oh, yeah?
On a social media platform. When I saw the change, I was like, wow. And believe me, he's one of the ones that are like, oh, you got to be ready. You got to have this. You got to have that. You got to have this. You got to be careful because there's going to be a lot of them that are going to turn around and say, you know what? I have 75,000 rounds of ammunition and 25 different guns in my basement. Now's my time. Now I'm going to protect what I want to protect. Somebody comes down the street, it's only going to escalate it more.
Oh, listen, I don't doubt it. And and if you defund the cops, that's where it's going to go. So, listen, we can talk forever on it, but I got to hope in November that people just say we can't have that possibility of the progressive left and to defund the police department movement here anymore. My biggest thing, to tell you the truth, I'd love to find somebody who would get de Blasio out of office before New York City's completely ruined. That guy's going to go down as the biggest jerk, and we'll see where it goes. But Jeff, it's 10 after. It's almost 10 after 10. We gotta wind this down now. It's been a great show. Got a lot of great guests. Joe Bouchard from Blue Oyster Cult, and Tommy Gunn, Tommy Grassley himself, and it's been a blast here on the Jeff birthday show, doing the Jeffies and everything else. So, Hefe, what do you got to say? It's your birthday. I'll give you final word tonight.
I got a fan.
That's true. He does have a fan. But Jeff, listen, brother, I love you. It's happy birthday to you. I'm going to get to see you this weekend, so I'm looking forward to getting together with you, your wife, and some friends, and should be a blast. And I thank you for another Thursday night, and we'll be back next week to do it all over again.
A lot of fun as always, man. And a lot of fun as always. And looking forward to starting the 55th year, so to speak.
Yes, that's
And
true.
After tomorrow, right, let me see. I'm going to see if you could see this. If I can show you this over the air. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, there we go. Can you see that?
It's a little. I get the lights. Oh, is that your 9 years? Is that what it says?
9, retirement day. 8 years,
Yes.
17 hours, 21 minutes, and 28 seconds. So fucking retirement day.
I got you, man. Listen, I got you.
This means like December 31st, 2027 is like when I'm going to be my last days at work. Actually, I'll be off of work before Christmas. When Christmas comes that year,
Yeah.
we'll be at home, and that's it. I ain't going back. Fuck you. I'm done. I don't care what I got to do. I'll take the percentage loss. I'm done. Done.
I don't blame you. While I'm not rushing to get to that point in my life yet. I am looking forward to the time that I can sit back and maybe do this as a full-time gig, at the very least, full-time hobby. But it's a long way off, and we'll between now and then hopefully still have some fun. But happy birthday, brother! I love doing this show. Love doing it with you,
Thank you.
and I love celebrating your birthday every year. It's a lot of fun on the show.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. But listen, guys, thanks to everybody who was on tonight. Thanks for everybody, all your comments in Facebook here. And
you didn't see much in the way of comments after a while. Did they slow down? Or
it did slow down. Yeah, it did slow down for a while. When we had Tommy Grassley on, we kind of slowed down some comments, but we got some back.
We lost it there a little bit, didn't we?
A little bit. But we'll be back next Thursday night with more and more. The shows have been very well received, so hopefully we'll keep that up moving forward. But thanks to everybody out there who watched us and listened to us, and thanks for all the people who did comment. And we'll be back next Thursday night with some more guests and a lot more conversation. And we hope you guys will check out hardrocketsports.com and go down to our YouTube channel and subscribe to the Hard Rocket Sports Show, and come back next week and do it all over again with us. So, guys, Jeff's going to enjoy his weekend. Make sure you guys all enjoy yours. It's going to be hot, and make sure you stay safe. And we'll see you all back here right next Thursday night, 7 o'clock, when we do it all over again. Jeff, have a great night, brother. I'll talk to you tomorrow, and thanks for everything.
You got it, dude, man. I'll talk to you then, man.
All right. Happy birthday, Jeff, and thanks, everybody. Good night.
Yeah.